Chapter 45-90. Lu Ming frowned. He had thought of this as well. Obviously, Yiling Tianshou no longer hoped to sever all the lifelines. He only wanted to use the flesh of the Yen tribe to sever as many as he could. He would first obtain the treasures inside to increase his strength. Perhaps he would leave behind a few loyal Yen tribe members and continue to nurture them. Their descendants would continue to believe in the heavenly human tribe and continue to use the power of faith to sever the lifelines. "Don't worry, I will make a trip," Lu Ming said. He planned to go to the ancestral mountain. Although it was obvious that Yiling Tianshou was waiting for him to go to the ancestral mountain, and this trip to the ancestral mountain was likely to be very dangerous, Lu Ming still planned to go. Although he could leave without going to the mountain of ancestors and come back after his strength had increased, he could still do so. However, he couldn't just stand by and watch as countless Yen clansmen died. After all, the Yen tribe was also part of the human tribe. This was too tragic. Of course, Lu Ming wouldn't die for nothing. He had a trump card and might have a chance to counterattack. If it really didn't work, Lu Ming would choose to retreat. He wouldn't really die for the Yen tribe. If he couldn't save them, then there was no other way. He could only retreat first and come back when his cultivation increased. "Senior Lu Ming, thank you so much for coming." Against the gods was overjoyed. The others were also overjoyed. In their opinion, Lu Ming was also from another world and had a powerful cultivation. He should be at the same level as the heavenly human tribe. Only Lu Ming could deal with the heavenly human tribe. They finally saw a glimmer of hope when Lu Ming made a move. Lu Ming nodded and didn't say much. He secretly sent a message to Qiuqiu and asked it to come back. Qiuqiu's cultivation had reached the 3rd level of the Divine Master realm and could be a great help to him. Especially after Qiuqiu turned into the mirror, it was even more mysterious. This trip couldn't be done without Qiuqiu. No, Brother Lu Ming, I'll go with you." Hai Zong walked up to Lu Ming and said, "No, you won't be of much help even if you go." Lu Ming shook his head and refused. "I can. I always feel that I have a strange feeling about the ancestral mountain. Maybe I can help Brother Lu Ming." Hai Zong said. His eyes were resolute as if he had to go. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He thought of the red stone that Hai Zong had fused with. It was said that Hai Zong's grandfather had obtained it near the Mountain of Ancestors. It was very likely that it came from the Mountain of Ancestors. Hai Zong had fused with Crimson Stone and had a shocking bloodline. Perhaps it could really play a miraculous role in the Mountain of Ancestors. But first, we have to go to another place. Lu Ming stepped into the air and headed toward the ancestral mountain. This time, he did not use the great imitation art to change his appearance. There was no need. Sure enough, he did not meet anyone from the heavenly human tribe along the way. Obviously, the heavenly human tribe had gathered in the ancestral mountain. At this moment, in the valley between the 1st and 2nd lifeline of the ancestral mountain, Yiling Tianshou sat on a throne and watched the other heavenly human tribe members busying themselves. The heavenly human tribe members continued to use the flesh and blood of the Yen tribe members to refine divine weapons. When they were almost done, they would be controlled by several heavenly human tribe members to cut the 2nd lifeline. The divine weapons refined from the flesh and blood of the Yen tribe members were indeed effective. A huge gap had been cut in the 2nd lifeline. Directly using the flesh and blood of the Yen tribe members to cut the lifeline was extremely fast. There was no need to wait slowly like when collecting faith power. Using the flesh and blood of the Yen tribe members to cut the lifeline, they just had to kill the Yen tribe members. Boom boom boom. A few more heavenly humans controlled a few scarlet swords and slashed at the 2nd lifeline. The gap on the 2nd lifeline was getting bigger and bigger. When the energy of the flesh and blood on the divine weapons was exhausted, they stopped and continued to refine. "Lord Tianshou, do you think that Lu Ming will come?" A 5th-level divine master heavenly human tribe elder asked softly beside Yiling Tianshou. "Let's see if his heart is ruthless enough. If he is not ruthless enough, he will come. If he is ruthless enough, he will not come. I hope he will come and get rid of this scourge in one fell swoop." Yiling Tianshou said. His killing intent was extremely strong at the mention of Lu Ming. Moreover, even if he doesn't come, the other Yen tribe members will come. He can't stop them. He is still too inexperienced to fight with me. Yiling Tianshou sneered. Everything was under his control. Although there were some deviations in the process, the general direction would not change. The result would not change either. He would definitely obtain the opportunity in the ancestral mountain. As time passed, the gap in the second lifeline grew bigger and bigger. Finally, with a bang, the second lifeline was cut. Great! Yiling Tianshou was overjoyed. Break through this mountain, Yiling Tianshou ordered. Immediately, some heavenly human tribe experts attacked the second lifeline, trying to break through the mountain and enter the back of the second lifeline. At this moment, he's here. Lu Ming is here. A loud shout came from outside. He's here. Yiling Tianshou's eyes lit up. Everyone retreat and let him in, Yiling Tianshou ordered. Immediately, the heavenly human tribe outside retreated to the valley between the first and second lifelines. Then, a young man with a tall and straight figure walked in step by step. This person was Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to really come. You are quite bold. Yiling Tianshou sneered. Of course I came. I came to kill you. Lu Ming said coldly. Kill me? Ah, you are quite bold. You think you can kill me? Yiling Tianshou laughed, his voice filled with mockery. He was so powerful that no matter how heaven-defying Lu Ming was, he was nothing in front of him. He was a 7th-level divine lord, and he was a peerless monster. His fighting strength far surpassed that of a heavenly human of the same level, let alone the other races. Lu Ming wanted to kill him despite being so many levels higher? How laughable! A mere 1st-level divine lord dares to boast so shamelessly. Lord Tianshou, let me kill him. A 5th-level divine lord asked from Yiling Tianshou's right. This was the 5th-level divine lord that had fought with Lu Ming last time. He had been brooding over the fact that Lu Ming had escaped last time. Let me do it myself. You might not be able to kill him. Yiling Tianshou stood up from his throne, a powerful aura spreading out. I can't kill him? He's just a 1st-level divine lord. The 5th-level divine lord said. Lu Ming, you're hiding your cultivation. Your cultivation isn't just 1st-level divine lord, is it? Right then, Yiling Tianshou looked at Lu Ming. Chapter 45-91. Lu Ming's eyes flashed at Yiling Tianshou's words, but he said nothing. Back then, you dug up quite a few desolate crystals here. Based on the pits you left behind, there were at least 700 to 800 of them, and your cultivation was only at the 1st level of the Divine Lord realm. 700 to 800 desolate crystals. Even if you have a forbidden body and need a lot of energy to raise your cultivation, it should be enough for you to break through to the 2nd level of the Divine Lord realm. Am I right? Yiling Tianshou said with a confident smile. The other celestial race experts were enlightened by Yiling Tianshou's words, especially the large man at the 5th level of the Divine Lord realm. He was well aware of Lu Ming's strength. Last time, Lu Ming was only at the 1st level of the Divine Lord realm, but his fighting strength was astonishing. If Lu Ming broke through to the 2nd level of the Divine Lord realm, he probably wouldn't be any weaker than him. If he still believed that Lu Ming was only at the 1st level of the Divine Lord realm, a moment of carelessness might cause him to suffer a great loss. When he thought of this, he felt a lingering fear. Brat, you're so despicable. You actually hid your cultivation to trick me. The large man at the 5th level of the celestial race roared. Lu Ming couldn't be bothered to pay attention to this large man. Instead, he looked at Yiling Tianshou. One had to admit that Yiling Tianshou was very smart. Lu Ming had indeed planned to hide his cultivation so that the celestial race would look down on him and use this chance to get rid of several celestial race experts. He hadn't expected Yiling Tianshou to see through him. However, this was fine. This wasn't Lu Ming's main plan. Lu Ming's main plan was something that his opponent would never be able to guess. Boom! Lu Ming stopped hiding and revealed his true cultivation. The energy of the 2nd level of the Divine Lord realm filled the air. At the same time, Qiu also flew out, revealing the energy of the 3rd level of the Divine Lord realm. A 2nd level of the Divine Lord realm and a 3rd level of the Divine Lord realm. You dare to come here with such strength? Very good. Lu Ming, once I capture you, The rewards I'll receive will be greater than the rewards of the entire heavenly star continent. Yiling Tianshou's eyes were filled with a fiery glow. His body was also shrouded by a layer of light. A terrifying aura filled the air. He took one step at a time toward Lu Ming. "Little ball, do it." Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Qiuqiu. At the same time, he charged toward Yiling Tianshou. At the same time that Lu Ming rushed out, Qiuqiu had already transformed into a mirror. Its original form was a source-level divine weapon. A pillar of light filled the sky, enveloping Yiling Tianshou. Being enveloped by this light pillar could make people fall into an illusion. Even if it was Yiling Tianshou, his mind was also in a trance. Qiuqiu's current cultivation had increased by one layer, reaching the third layer of the Divine Master Realm. The pillar of light it used was naturally much more powerful. However, Yiling Tianshou's strength was too strong. Wanting to use this kind of light pillar to thoroughly make Yiling Tianshou fall into an illusionary realm and be at the mercy of others was absolutely impossible. Qiuqiu's cultivation was still too low. However, what Lu Ming wanted was also not this. As long as it could affect Yiling Tianshou slightly, it would be enough. Heaven Breaker. Lu Ming executed the Heaven Breaker style, turning into a spear light, stabbing toward Yiling Tianshou's glabella. At the same time that he executed this move, Lu Ming opened the door in his body. That yellow mud road emerged. That ball of pitch-black fog was moved out by Lu Ming, adhering to the tip of the war god's spear. This was Lu Ming's true killing move. In the blink of an eye, the spear light approached Yiling Tianshou. "Get lost for me!" Yiling Tianshou roared, his eyes bursting with a resplendent light. Although he was affected by Qiuqiu, he did not truly fall into an illusion. At this time, he erupted with all his strength, wanting to destroy the light pillar that Qiuqiu shot out. Boom! There were two types of supreme heavenly powers in Yiling Tianshou's body. One was the power of heavenly punishment, the other was the power of heavenly extermination. The two supreme heavenly powers interweaved together, forming a destructive storm that swept out in all directions. At the same time, Yiling Tianshou punched toward Lu Ming, colliding with the tip of the war god's spear. Boom! Berserk power swept over. Lu Ming's body trembled violently, flying out backward like a cannonball, slamming heavily into the mountain wall of the first mountain range, smashing out a large pit in the mountain wall. Lu Ming coughed up large mouthfuls of blood, his complexion somewhat pale. That move just now, he was severely injured. The gap between him and Yiling Tianshou was too great. Under normal circumstances, if the two people clashed head-on in one move, Lu Ming would be insta-killed. Therefore, that was why he brought Qiuqiu along. Although Qiuqiu's attack just now did not make Yiling Tianshou truly fall into an illusion, it also had a great impact. It made the other party's mind dazed for a moment. In that moment of daze, Lu Ming's attack approached. Even if Yiling Tianshou reacted and launched a counterattack, it was also in a hurry and could not erupt with all of his strength. Therefore, Lu Ming was only injured and not killed. This was already enough. Lu Ming's plan was already completed. Lu Ming originally did not intend to rely on this move to kill Yiling Tianshou. He knew very well that even if he and Qiuqiu joined forces, they would absolutely not be able to do anything to Yiling Tianshou. His true goal was to inject that ball of black mist into Yiling Tianshou's body. Just now, he had attached that ball of black mist to the tip of the war god's spear, and when Yiling Tianshou's fist collided with the tip of the war god's spear, that ball of black mist naturally entered Yiling Tianshou's body. "Kid, what did you do to me?" At this moment, Yiling Tianshou let out a roar of horror. That ball of black mist acted up. The moment that ball of black mist entered Yiling Tianshou's body, it exploded and spread to every cell in Yiling Tianshou's body. This kind of black mist came from that strange old ship in the void. It was very strange and terrifying. Lu Ming had suffered greatly before, and could not even refine the forbidden power. In the end, Lu Ming had to rely on his door and the yellow mud road to finally extract the black mist from his body. As for Yiling Tianshou, he did not have the forbidden power, nor did he have Lu Ming's door. Although he had used all his strength, he still could not do anything to the black mist. The black mist spread to every cell in Yiling Tianshou's body and began to madly corrode his body. Yiling Tianshou's body slowly shriveled up, and his aura began to weaken. Refine, refine. Yiling Tianshou roared furiously, constantly erupting with 2 types of supreme power that circulated throughout his body, but it was useless. He could not spread his forbidden power to every cell like Lu Ming's, so it was almost useless against this kind of black mist. Moreover, 2 types of supreme power could not be compared to the forbidden power at all, unless there were 4 types. Therefore, the black mist continued to corrode Yiling Tianshou. Qiuqiu, the plan is a success. Let's retreat. Lu Ming transmitted to Qiuqiu, and then brought Qiuqiu out of the gap quickly. Lu Ming, you are going to die today. Yiling Tianshou roared and lunged at Lu Ming like a madman, bringing with him a violent airflow. Yiling Tianshou, you have been poisoned by me. If you don't hurry up and get rid of the poison, only death will await you, Lu Ming shouted. Chapter 45-92. Yiling Tianshou, you've been poisoned by my poison. If you don't hurry up and get rid of the poison, only death awaits you, Lu Ming shouted. These words were like a bucket of cold water splashed on Yiling Tianshou's head, instantly calming him down. Lu Ming is already severely injured. Go and cripple him. If he resists, kill him without mercy. Yiling Tianshou roared, then hurriedly sat down cross-legged, circulating his energy with all his might, wanting to get rid of the black fog. Done. Seeing Yiling Tianshou sit down cross-legged and begin to refine the black fog, Lu Ming was overjoyed. This was his plan. What he wanted was for Yiling Tianshou to sit down and refine the black fog. Lu Ming was all too familiar with the power of this black fog. It had tortured him for several months and was definitely not something Yiling Tianshou could get rid of. The only weakness was that the eruption was not fierce enough and needed time. As time passed, only death awaited Yiling Tianshou. If Yiling Tianshou had ignored everything and charged at Lu Ming crazily, with Lu Ming's injured body, there was a high chance that he would be killed by Yiling Tianshou. Therefore, Lu Ming specially shouted to remind Yiling Tianshou. Sure enough, Yiling Tianshou fell for it and sat down cross-legged, wanting to refine the black fog. Lu Ming and Qiuqiu rushed into the gap in the first mountain range and rushed outside. Chase, don't let him escape. Lu Ming, you can't escape. The other celestial race experts shouted and chased after Lu Ming. Among them, 2 5th-level Divine Master experts were the fastest, following closely behind Lu Ming, rushing out of the Mountain of Ancestors. Lu Ming pretended to be panicked and continued to fly into the distance, trying to get as far away from the Mountain of Ancestors as possible in case Yiling Tianshou attacked. At the same time, he also needed time to heal. Previously, he was injured by Yiling Tianshou's move and his injuries were still quite serious, but his recovery ability was astonishing and was recovering at an extremely fast speed. Soon, his injuries were 80% healed. And at this time, they were already some distance away from the Mountain of Ancestors. Qiuqiu, do it. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Qiuqiu. All right, leave that old man to me. Qiuqiu grinned, revealing a row of sharp teeth. Then, it flew out and transformed into a halberd. This halberd was originally a source-grade weapon. The halberd was enormous, and it cleaved down at the old man at the 5th level of the Divine Master realm. As for Lu Ming, he gripped the war god's spear and turned around, thrusting it at the middle-aged man. Boom! After exchanging a blow, both of them retreated. On the other side, Qiuqiu also exchanged a blow with the old man. Both of them retreated continuously. However, Qiuqiu had gained the upper hand. This made the 5th-level Divine Lord Celestial Race Elder extremely grave and shocked. How can a mere metallic life form be so powerful? You can actually fight me across 2 levels, and you seem to be slightly stronger than me. The heart of the 5th-layer Divine Master Heavenly Human Elder was in turmoil, and he found it hard to calm down. Although the metallic lifeform race was one of the top 10 races of the universe, in the eyes of the celestial race, they were just a pile of slaves, no different from ants. They understood the metallic lifeform race very well, and they knew that it was impossible for the metallic lifeform race to have such a powerful existence. This metallic lifeform is strange. Hurry up and finish off Lu Ming. Come and help me. The old man bellowed at the middle-aged man. Hold on. Once the others arrive, the two of them will be dead for sure. The middle-aged man roared, his heart filled with unspeakable bitterness. Finish off Lu Ming? Lu Ming's strength was about the same as his. How could he be so easy to deal with? Only when the other experts arrived and worked together could they finish off Lu Ming and Qiuqiu. Kill! Lu Ming roared and once again charged toward the middle-aged burly fifth-level divine master. The war god's spear glowed, turning into a dazzling spear light that aimed for the man's forehead. Divine punishment! The middle-aged man roared as he gripped his main divine weapon saber and slashed at Lu Ming, covered in the energy of divine punishment. Clang! The two attacks clashed. In the next moment, the burly fifth-tier divine master's countenance changed drastically. He felt an extremely terrifying force erupting from Lu Ming's long spear. It was invincible and was charging toward him. Gotcha! Bang! The main divine weapon in his hand shattered and exploded into smithereens. The spear light did not stop, continuing to stab at his forehead. The middle-aged man roared, extreme fear in his eyes. He used all his strength to shift his body, putting some distance between himself and the spear light. However, even though he had avoided the attack, he had not completely avoided Lu Ming's spear light. The spear light struck his chest, and half of his body exploded. He was heavily injured. Just now, Lu Ming had unleashed the power of origin. After Lu Ming broke through to the second level of the Godlord realm, he was no longer weaker than his opponent. Moreover, he had suddenly erupted with origin energy, so it was normal for him to heavily injure his opponent. And this was only because his opponent had reacted quickly, or else he might have been killed. Swish swish, the other celestial race experts also arrived. There were 10-some Godlord experts, and 2 of them were at the 4th level of the Godlord realm. As for the 3rd level of the Godlord realm, there were 3. These people were also extremely powerful and could pose a threat to Lu Ming, especially those at the 4th level of the Godlord realm. He had to end this battle quickly. Primeval desolate style. Lu Ming formed a seal with his hands, and a primeval desolate continent took form, pressing down on the middle-aged man. The war god's spear flew out like a bolt of lightning, thrusting at his opponent. This double attack pushed Lu Ming's fighting strength to the limit. His opponent was already heavily injured, half of his body exploding. He simply could not block Lu Ming's attack. Bam! The primeval desolate continent pressed down on him, and his battered body was torn to pieces. The war god's spear flew past and pierced his head. The man's head exploded, and his body and soul were extinguished. Damn it! That's origin energy. The old man at the 5th level of the Godlord realm fighting with Qiuqiu was shocked. An expert whose fighting strength was similar to his had been killed by Lu Ming just like that. This truly shocked him. That's not right. I heard that Lu Ming has condensed an origin seed. The origin seed definitely doesn't contain much origin energy. It's probably only enough for one attack. At this thought, the old man at the 5th level of the Godlord realm breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, the celestial race experts who had just arrived all gasped in shock. They couldn't help but stop charging at Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not charge at these people. Instead, he charged at Qiuqiu. Qiuqiu, illusion. Lu Ming sent a message to Qiuqiu. Qiuqiu understood and swiftly retreated. Its body rapidly transformed into a mirror and shot out a beam of light. Not good. The old man at the 5th level of the Godlord realm paled as he thought of something and flew to the side. But how could he be faster than Qiuqiu's beam of light? A moment later, he was enveloped by the beam of light and fell into an illusion. He was much weaker than Yiling Tianshou, so he fell into an illusion, a dazed look appearing in his eyes. Chapter 45-93. The celestial race 5th level Godlord Elder was enveloped by Qiuqiu's pillar of light and fell into an illusion, a dazed look appearing in his eyes. Lu Ming would not let go of such an opportunity. As one with the spear, he pierced through the celestial race elder's forehead and annihilated his soul, slaying him on the spot. Just like that, 2 5th level godlords were killed by Lu Ming and Qiuqiu. The remaining 10 some celestial race godlords were almost scared to death. Retreat! Retreat and find Lord Tianshou. Let's go! The remaining 10 some godlords roared as they retreated toward the ancestral mountain. Wanna leave? Lu Ming revealed a cold-killing intent as he charged at the 10 some celestial race godlords. Qiu once again transformed into a halberd and slashed down. The two of them were so fast that they caught up to the celestial race experts in the blink of an eye. Scatter! Scatter! Let's split up! A fourth-level god lord roared. Suddenly, the dozen or so heavenly humans scattered and fled in all directions. Primordial desolate style. Lu Ming's hands quickly formed a seal, and a massive continent formed and pressed down. The continent was so massive that it covered the sky and engulfed the celestial race experts. Attack together! Attack together and break open this continent! The celestial race experts roared as they attacked together, unleashing 10 some attacks on the primordial desolate continent. Boom! 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 The continent fiercely shuddered, and cracks appeared on its surface. Finally, it exploded. Lu Ming had made the continent too large, and its power was too scattered. It was not very strong, so it was defeated. But only 5 people managed to charge out. These 5 people were all at the 3rd or 4th level of the Divine Master realm. As for those below 3rd level godlords, they did not have the strength to do so. They were all heavily injured and coughing up blood. Some 1st level Divine Masters were even killed by the shockwaves. Even though the primordial desolate style was too large and scattered, it was not something that 1st level or 2nd level godlords could block. The war god's spear trembled, and 5 or 6 spear lights shot toward the injured 1st level or 2nd level godlords. These people were already injured and unable to resist at all. They were all killed one after another. On the other side, Qiu's halberd slashed down, aiming at a 4th layer Divine Master expert. Qiu's current battle prowess was even stronger than that old man at the 5th level of the Divine Master realm, let alone this 4th level Divine Master. Although this person did his best to block, the result was that his main weapon was broken, and his entire person was cleaved into 2, dying on the spot. After a wave of attacks from Lu Ming and Qiu, only 4 of the Celestial Clan's Divine Master realm experts were left. 1 4th level Divine Master and 3 3rd level Divine Masters. They spread out in 4 directions and flew at full speed. Lu Ming frowned. It was obviously impossible to kill all of them. After all, the other party's speed was not slow. Furthermore, they had split up, so it would be difficult to catch them all in one go. I'll go after that 4th layer Divine Master. Lu Ming set his sights on the last 4th layer Divine Master and used the greater teleportation technique to chase after him. As for Qiu, it chased after a 3rd level Divine Master. Lu Ming cast the transference skill. His speed was extremely fast, and he constantly closed the distance between him and the 4th level Divine Master. The celestial race expert felt a chill in his heart, fear appearing on his face. Lu Ming, if you dare to kill a member of the celestial race, the celestial race won't let you go. The other party roared. Even now, you're still using the celestial race to threaten me? Isn't that stupid? Do you think that I'm afraid of the celestial race? Lu Ming sneered. Lord Yiling Tianshou will be here very soon. You're dead. The other party seemed to know that using the celestial race to threaten someone with a taboo body was truly stupid, so he brought up Yiling Tianshou as well. Yiling Tianshou can't even protect himself. Don't worry. After I kill you, I'll take his dog life. Lu Ming coldly said, but he did not slow down at all. The two sides were getting closer and closer. I'll fight you to the death. The other party roared, as if he knew that he could not escape. He suddenly turned around, and the power of the heavens on his body burned like flames. The other party was going all out. He burned the power of the heavens and wanted to perish together with Lu Ming. It had to be said that a 4th level Divine Master heavenly human was a great threat. Lu Ming had to be careful. Great binding technique, great sealing technique, great binding technique. In an instant, Lu Ming used dozens of ancient secret skills to trap the enemy. They transformed into densely packed rays of light that shrouded the other party. Then, the primitive style was activated, and a continent pressed down on the other party. The other party roared, going all out. Even the universe bridge was set ablaze to fight against Lu Ming. He actually managed to withstand Lu Ming's attack. However, he was also severely injured. Let's die together. The other party was completely crazy. A terrifying aura swelled in his body, and rings of terrifying energy spread out. He's going to self-destruct. Retreat. Lu Ming quickly retreated and set up hundreds of defenses in front of him. Boom. There was an earth-shattering explosion that was hundreds of times more powerful than the explosion of a star. Waves of terrifying energy swept out in all directions. The land was completely charred black. 1,000,000 miles away, Lu Ming appeared. His body was also charred black. Some parts of his body were tattered and bleeding. The self-destruction of a fourth-level divine master heavenly human is really powerful. I can't be careless in the future, Lu Ming warned himself. At the same time, he circulated his forbidden energy to heal his injuries. If he faced enemies in the future, he would try to kill them as quickly as possible. It would be troublesome if the other party went all out. Those heavenly humans who had been killed before had not made up their minds and were still hoping to escape. That was why Lu Ming and the others had killed them quickly. They did not have time to self-destruct. However, that heavenly human knew that he could not escape. He stopped fighting and decided to self-destruct. That was why he succeeded. Lu Ming, why are you in such a sorry state? At this moment, Qiuqiu returned and looked at Lu Ming curiously. How are you? Did you kill the heavenly human? Lu Ming quickly changed the topic. I killed one. The other two ran away. I can't catch up, Qiuqiu said. Those two should have gone to the ancestral mountain. Let's go to the ancestral mountain. Yiling Tianshou, it should be about time, Lu Ming said, killing intent flashing in his eyes. It was time to end things with Yiling Tianshou. The two flew toward the ancestral mountain. At this moment, between the first and second mountain ranges, Yiling Tianshou was still refining the black mist. However, his current state was too poor. He was so thin that he was only skin and bones. It was as if his flesh and blood had been sucked away. His aura was also many times weaker than before. But, why can't I refine this black mist? Yiling Tianshou roared in his heart. At the same time, he felt deep fear. Was he going to die here? Chapter 45-94. Shouted Yiling Tianshou. He couldn't accept it. His father was a powerful celestial Zun of the Heavenly Palace. He had a high status in the Heavenly Palace. He could do whatever he wanted. Besides, he had also obtained great fortune. He had obtained a large amount of Ice Fire Star Silver in this continent. That much Ice Fire Star Silver could be exchanged for an immeasurable amount of wealth. His future was bright. He didn't want to die. Now, he only hoped that Lu Ming would be captured so that he could obtain the antidote from Lu Ming. Indeed, he thought that it was a deadly poison and that Lu Ming should have the antidote. Master Tianshou, what should we do? Master Tianshou is dying. The heavenly human tribe cultivators who only had the strength of the 9th great supreme god layer were extremely anxious. You come here. I have something for you to do, said Yiling Tianshou hoarsely. Master Tianshou, please tell us what to do. The heavenly human tribe cultivators of the 9th great supreme god layer approached Yiling Tianshou. When the heavenly human tribe cultivators got close to Yiling Tianshou suddenly attacked. He raised his two hands and two waves of terrifying strength pressed down on the heavenly human tribe cultivators like a millstone. Even though Yiling Tianshou was being tortured by the black fog, he was still much stronger than the heavenly human tribe cultivators of the 9th great supreme god layer. Under the pressure of this power, the bodies of the heavenly human tribe members began to explode and turn into a bloody mess. Swallow them, shouted Yiling Tianshou. His body suddenly swelled up and he turned into a giant. He opened his mouth and swallowed all the flesh and blood. At that moment, Yiling Tianshou looked like a demon. He wanted to use the flesh and blood to resist the black fog's corrosion. As expected, after absorbing the flesh and blood, His body became a little fuller because the black fog seemed to have found a new target. He's crazy. He's crazy. Yiling Tianshou is crazy. The remaining heavenly human tribe cultivators shouted in fear and ran away. There were more than 200 heavenly human tribe cultivators of the 9th Great Supreme God layer. Yiling Tianshou had only killed 100 of them. You won't be able to escape. It's your honor to sacrifice yourself for me. Shouted Yiling Tianshou, and he attacked the heavenly human tribe cultivators of the 9th Great Supreme God layer. The heavenly human tribe cultivators' miserable cries. Yiling Tianshou had finally killed all the heavenly human tribe cultivators of the 9th Great Supreme God layer and swallowed their flesh and blood. Yiling Tianshou roared in his heart. At this moment his gaze was looking forward. In front of him, there were two figures who were looking at him in horror. These two people were the fish that had escaped the net from Lu Ming and Qiuqiu. They were both third-tier divine master experts. The two of them fled back to the ancestral mountain. Initially, they wanted to ask Yiling Tianshou to kill Lu Ming. However, they did not expect to see Yiling Tianshou killing other members of the heavenly human race as soon as they returned. The two of them were so scared that they stopped in their tracks, not daring to approach. Yiling Tianshou's eyes were bloodshot. The two heavenly human tribe cultivators paled. One of them said, "Lord Tianshou, there's something wrong with your body. We should keep our distance." The two heavenly human tribe cultivators retreated a bit, keeping their distance from Yiling Tianshou. Yiling Tianshou's eyes flashed with a vicious light, but he didn't attack the two heavenly human tribe cultivators. 9th Great Supreme God layer cultivators couldn't compare to a 3rd Great Supreme God layer cultivator. In his current state, he might not be able to catch up to them. "Why you back? Where's Lu Ming? Did you take him down? Hurry and bring him here," Yiling Tianshou asked. This was what he was most concerned about. As long as he could take down Lu Ming, he would be able to get the antidote from Lu Ming. "Lord Tianshou, that Lu Ming and that metallic life form are too strong and cunning. We failed. The others are dead. Only the two of us are left," a heavenly human tribe cultivator of the 3rd Great Supreme God layer said. "What?" Yiling Tianshou trembled like a bolt from the blue. More than a dozen heavenly human tribe cultivators were dead. Only the two of them were left. Most importantly, it didn't matter if they were dead, but if they couldn't capture Lu Ming, where would he get the antidote? Damn it! Damn it! Trash! A bunch of trash! Yiling Tianshou roared furiously. He was about to go crazy. He was going crazy. Although he had just devoured the flesh of more than 200 heavenly human tribe cultivators of the 9th Great Supreme God layer, they were only 9th Great Supreme God layer cultivators. Even a few dozen of them couldn't compare to a heavenly human tribe cultivator. He couldn't hold on for much longer. His aura started to weaken again, and his body, which had been a little fuller, started to shrivel up again. This scene was extremely horrifying. The two heavenly human tribe cultivators couldn't help but retreat a little more. "Where's Lu Ming? Take me to him! Take me to him!" Yiling Tianshou roared hysterically. In that direction. The two heavenly human tribe cultivators didn't dare to leave Yiling Tianshou behind. Yiling Tianshou's status was no small matter. If they dared to leave him behind, it would be fine if Yiling Tianshou died, but if he was still alive, their fates would be miserable. "Let's go!" Yiling Tianshou roared and rushed in that direction. The two heavenly human tribe cultivators followed from a distance. They didn't fly very far before they ran into Lu Ming. Yiling Tianshou is still alive. Lu Ming was surprised to see Yiling Tianshou. He had wanted to return to the ancestral mountain to see if Yiling Tianshou was still alive. He hadn't expected to run into Yiling Tianshou on the way. "Lu Ming, hand over the antidote, quick!" Yiling Tianshou roared. "Antidote? I've hidden it somewhere not far from here." Lu Ming started to lie to stall for time. The longer he delayed, the better it would be for him. "I hid it. Come with me to get it." Yiling Tianshou roared. "Okay, come with me, but keep a distance from me. Otherwise, don't even think about getting the antidote," Lu Ming said as he retreated. As long as he led Yiling Tianshou around twice, Yiling Tianshou would be dead for sure. Kid, are you trying to trick me? Are you trying to stall for time? The antidote must be on you. Hand it over or die. Yiling Tianshou roared. He was smart and wouldn't be fooled so easily. As he roared, he tried to force Lu Ming to leave. I said, come with me, and I'll give you the antidote. Lu Ming sped up and retreated. He naturally wouldn't tell Yiling Tianshou that there was no antidote. If he did, he would cut off Yiling Tianshou's hope. Without hope, he was afraid that Yiling Tianshou would go all out. For an expert like Yiling Tianshou, who had an extraordinary background, once he went all out, who knew what would happen? Lu Ming wasn't sure either. But as long as there was hope for the antidote, Yiling Tianshou wouldn't go all out. Chapter 4595. As long as I take you down, let's see if you hand it over or not. Yiling Tianshou roared. He was very decisive and charged towards Lu Ming at an extremely shocking speed. As long as he took down Lu Ming, he would be able to take the initiative. Even if Lu Ming really hid the antidote somewhere, he could force Lu Ming to lead the way. If Lu Ming hid the antidote on him, that would be even better. At this moment, as it concerned his life, Yiling Tianshou attacked with all his strength. The violent heavenly punishment force and heavenly extermination force surged towards Lu Ming like a tide. Heaven-piercing. Lu Ming waved the war god's spear, forming dozens of spear shadows that pierced forward. At the same time, Qiu also turned into a halberd and slashed forward. Rumble. The power of both sides collided in the void, erupting into bursts of rumbling. Following that, Lu Ming and Qiu's figures drifted back, but that was all. They were not injured. Yiling Tianshou, it seems that you don't have much strength left. Lu Ming sneered. Damn it. Yiling Tianshou roared in his heart, his expression extremely ugly. He was corroded too much by the black mist, and his strength was much weaker than when he was at his peak. Moreover, when he attacked, he still had to divert a portion of his strength to resist the black mist, otherwise, the corrosion would be faster. In this way, the strength he could exert would be even less. The move just now could only push back Lu Ming and Qiu, but it could not injure Lu Ming and Qiu. I don't believe it, kill. Yiling Tianshou roared and wanted to use more strength to attack, but his body immediately trembled and his face turned pale. As soon as he used more strength, the strength to resist the black mist was not enough. The black mist corroded even more, causing him to suffer heavy losses. Qiu, do it. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Qiu. Then, with a wave of his hand, the war god's spear flew out like a bolt of lightning. At the same time, Lu Ming used the Great Desolation style. A continent pressed down on Yiling Tianshou. The continent was compressed very small by Lu Ming, and its power was also at its strongest state. At the same time, the halberd formed by Qiu once again slashed at Yiling Tianshou. The two of them went all out, unleashing their strongest attacks. How could Yiling Tianshou dare to be careless? He could only block. He let out a long howl and unleashed several hundred palm strikes consecutively with the power of heavenly extermination and heavenly punishment in one hand, blocking Lu Ming and Qiu's attacks. However, every time he attacked, he would consume a large amount of energy. Naturally, the power suppressing the black fog would weaken, and the black fog would take the opportunity to corrode him. After a round of confrontation, Yiling Tianshou became even weaker. Lu Ming had naturally seen through this, which was why he had launched an attack with Qiu. As long as he attacked, Yiling Tianshou would die even faster. Again! Lu Ming shouted and launched another attack. Yiling Tianshou was furious, but he had no choice but to block. If he didn't block and let the black fog corrode him, he would be directly killed by Lu Ming and Qiu. After a few rounds of continuous attacks, Yiling Tianshou was very weak. Black fog constantly overflowed from the surface of his body. Black fog also overflowed from his mouth, nose, and eyes. His entire person looked like a zombie. Lu Ming, give me the antidote, quickly give me the antidote. My father is a celestial venerable of the heavenly palace. If I die, he won't let you off. Yiling Tianshou roared and began to threaten Lu Ming. But Lu Ming was clearly unmoved and continued to attack. Lu Ming, Don't kill me. As long as you let me go, I can give you whatever you want. Treasures, divine pills, beautiful women, I can give them all to you. I can even give you ice fire star silver. 100 kilograms, no, 500 kilograms, I can give it all to you. Seeing that his threat failed, Yiling Tianshou tried to bribe Lu Ming again. As long as I kill you, all the treasures on you will be mine. Lu Ming sneered. Bastard, despicable ant, you want to kill me? Dream on. Let me tell you, if I die, this continent will be destroyed. Countless people from the Yen clan will die. They will all be buried with me. Seeing that Lu Ming was unmoved, Yiling Tianshou went crazy and shouted hysterically. Here's the chance. Qiuqiu, illusion. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Qiuqiu. How could Qiuqiu not know Lu Ming's intention? It immediately turned into a mirror and shot out a beam of light that enveloped Yiling Tianshou. Yiling Tianshou's eyes immediately became dazed and lifeless. Swoosh. Lu Ming became one with the spear and turned into a beam of spear light that pierced towards Yiling Tianshou's forehead. Just as Lu Ming was about to pierce Yiling Tianshou's eyes suddenly emitted a dazzling light. His body also erupted with a terrifying fluctuation. Not good, retreat. Without hesitation, Lu Ming stopped his body abruptly and then retreated rapidly to the back. Lu Ming died. Let's die together. Yiling Tianshou roared and a violent force swept towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body shook violently and he spurted out a mouthful of blood. However, Lu Ming also used this force to retreat faster. He retreated to Qiuqiu's side and grabbed Qiuqiu. He used the greater teleportation technique and instantly appeared in the distance. Lu Ming, let's die together, let's die together. In the distance, Yiling Tianshou roared and rushed towards Lu Ming crazily. Yiling Tianshou really went crazy and went all out. His whole body was on the verge of self-destruction. The power that erupted was close to his peak. However, he didn't really make up his mind to self-destruct just now. He was only on the verge of self-destruction. Although he injured Lu Ming, he didn't leave Lu Ming behind. You can play by yourself. I'm not going to accompany you. Lu Ming had already seen that Yiling Tianshou was about to die. He was too lazy to make a move now. He pulled away from Yiling Tianshou and waited for him to be completely corroded by the black fog. Don't go, let's die together, let's die together. Yiling Tianshou roared and chased after Lu Ming crazily. He already knew that he couldn't survive and was on the verge of self-destruction. His strength had almost reached the limit, but the black fog also took the opportunity to corrode him. His flesh and blood essence was almost exhausted and his soul was also in a state of collapse. He could die at any time. Now, even if there was an antidote, it might not be useful. He wanted to find Lu Ming and perish together. Unfortunately, Lu Ming would no longer give him the chance to do so. Lu Ming kept retreating, pulling away from Yiling Tianshou. No matter how Yiling Tianshou roared, he couldn't be bothered with him. What should we do? Lord Tianshou is about to die. In the distance, 2 third-layer Divine Master experts were watching. They didn't dare to get close. If they got close now, they would either die at the hands of Lu Ming or Yiling Tianshou. They weren't that stupid. What else can we do? Yiling Tianshou is dead for sure. Let's leave quickly. The other person said. If we leave now, do we return to the Heavenly Palace or? The person in front asked. Returning to the Heavenly Palace is courting death. Everyone else is dead, including Yiling Tianshou. Do you think Yiling Tianshou's father will let us go? Let's leave this place and find a place to hide. The other person said. Then, the 2 of them flashed and left the place. Lu Ming naturally noticed that the 2 of them had left, but they were very far away from him. Now that they had retreated, he couldn't catch up even if he wanted to. He could only let them leave. Chapter 45-96. A few minutes later, the aura on Yiling Tianshou's body suddenly weakened rapidly. The violent power all over his body also rapidly dried up and disappeared like a balloon. Bang! In the end, Yiling Tianshou's body fell to the ground and broke into pieces. However, he was not dead yet. His soul had not been completely annihilated. He let out a final roar. Lu Ming, my father knows that I'm here. If I die, he will find me. Even if you can leave, all the Yen tribe will be buried with me. Ha! Yiling Tianshou laughed loudly. Then his soul and his broken body completely exploded with a bang, turning into ashes. Lu Ming let out a long breath. To be honest, this Yiling Tianshou was really very difficult to deal with. High cultivation and strength was one reason. He was also very smart. Some schemes would not work in front of him and would be seen through. However, the other party was still a step behind and lost to Lu Ming in the end. The main reason was that the other party did not expect Lu Ming to have something like the black fog in his hands. Logically speaking, reaching Yiling Tianshou's level, plus having two kinds of supreme heavenly power holding down the fort, there was no poison in the primitive universe that could scare him. Therefore, he did not guard against this move. The other was also that kind of black fog. It was too terrifying. When fighting with Lu Ming, Yiling Tianshou's fist was covered with supreme heavenly power. Even if Lu Ming wanted to use any powerful poison, it would be blocked or even refined by the power of the fist. It could not enter Yiling Tianshou's body at all. However, that kind of black fog could directly ignore Yiling Tianshou's power and seep into his body. Therefore, Yiling Tianshou was defeated. Lu Ming won somewhat by luck, but in the end he still won, didn't he? Lu Ming flew over and saw the storage ring left behind by Yiling Tianshou. He grabbed the storage ring in his hand. That kind of black fog seemed to only corrode flesh and did not have any corrosive effect on storage rings. It's a pity that the black fog dissipated too. Lu Ming sighed. This kind of black fog was very powerful. If he could keep it, it would be of great use at a critical moment. For example, when dealing with Yiling Tianshou, if he did not have this black fog, Lu Ming would definitely not be able to do anything to him. This black fog was not only effective against Yiling Tianshou, it was also effective against people with stronger cultivations. However, as Yiling Tianshou was annihilated, the black mist also dissipated. However, Lu Ming's mood became better very quickly. His gaze landed on the storage ring left behind by Yiling Tianshou, his two eyes shining. This was Yiling Tianshou's storage ring. How many treasures would there be inside? Most importantly, how much ice fire star silver was inside? Lu Ming could not wait any longer. Lu Ming activated the taboo energy to erase the taboo energy that Yiling Tianshou had left on the storage ring. Then he began to examine it. After a while, the smile on Lu Ming's face was uncontrollably revealed. I'm rich. I'm really rich. Lu Ming found a large amount of icy fire star silver in his storage ring. The total amount was more than 1,500 kilograms. 1,500 kilograms, that was enough to refine 1,500 source-grade divine weapons. As long as he had this ice fire star silver, he would not have to worry about it in the future. Because the Heaven Destroyer had not found so many materials for refining source-level divine weapons for so many years. 1,500 kilograms of ice fire star silver. If the upper echelons of the Heavenly Palace knew about it, they would probably go crazy. Now, it had all fallen into Lu Ming's hands. This amount was a little more than Lu Ming had expected. Although the heavenly human race had occupied this continent for tens of thousands of years, it was obvious that they did not start mining the ice fire star silver from the beginning. The years of mining the ice fire star silver were not very long. Otherwise, the 36 mines, after tens of thousands of years, the amount would definitely be more than 1,500 kilograms. In fact, the total content of the ice fire star silver from the 36 mines was only about 2,000 kilograms, which was already an astronomical figure. Lu Ming had learned that the 36 mines were not mined at the same time. At the beginning, one was found, and then the second, the third. By now, the 36 ice fire star silver mines were about to be finished. In the storage ring, the ice fire star silver mine was the most valuable. Although there were some other treasures, Lu Ming did not care about them. Lu Ming would only be interested in chaos crystals, source-level divine weapons, or broken source-level divine weapons. However, there were no source-level divine weapons or broken source-level divine weapons in the storage ring, not even a piece of chaos crystal. Obviously, Yiling Tianshou must have refined the chaos crystal immediately after getting it. What a waste! Lu Ming muttered, then his figure flashed, and he put away the storage rings of the other heavenly human race. Then, Lu Ming re-entered the Mountain of Ancestors. Lu Ming stood at the foot of the second mountain range. The second lifeline of the Mountain of Ancestors had also been cut off by Yiling Tianshou and the others, and a cave was dug in the mountain. As soon as it was opened, Lu Ming arrived. The people of the heavenly human race did not have time to go in. Lu Ming did not hesitate and stepped into the second mountain range. The second mountain range and the third mountain range also formed a canyon. Lu Ming glanced around, and a trace of joy appeared on his face. Because, like the first mountain range, the walls of the second mountain range were also inlaid with chaos crystals. At a glance, there were no less than 1,000 chaos crystals, more than the first mountain range. "Qiu, let's go!" Lu Ming shouted, took out his weapon, rushed up, and began to dig for the chaos crystals. Now that the heavenly human race was gone, Lu Ming was not in such a hurry. He dug with Qiu unhurriedly. Soon, all the chaos crystals on the second mountain range were dug out by Lu Ming. Not a single piece was left. Lu Ming counted. There were a total of 1998 pieces, close to 2,000 pieces. It was a lot more than the primordial crystals in the first mountain range. Indeed, for this continent to be able to flourish like this, it must contain a lot of desolate crystals. I reckon that every lifeline contains a sizable amount of desolate crystals. I have only dug out the first 2 mountain ranges. It should not affect the growth of the stellar sky continent. Lu Ming thought. The stellar sky continent needed energy to reproduce. And the chaos crystals would constantly emit energy to affect the continent. If all the chaos crystals were dug out, it would definitely affect the development of the continent, and it might even become a dead continent. However, Lu Ming only dug out the chaos crystals on 2 lifelines, so it would not affect the development of the continent. After all, there were still 7 lifelines. Furthermore, from the looks of it, the lifelines contained more and more desolate crystals than the previous one. Moreover, there must be some chaos crystals under the continent, but they were very scattered and difficult to find. Unfortunately, even with these chaos crystals, it is not enough for me to break through. I need more chaos crystals, Lu Ming sighed. Chapter 4597. There were nearly 2,000 chaos crystals, and he had refined 600 of them. If it were anyone else, they could easily break through to the 3rd level of the Divine Master Realm. However, Lu Ming couldn't. He needed more energy. It's a pity that I can't go deeper into the Ancestral Mountain. Otherwise, it would be great if I could get some more chaos crystals. Lu Ming looked at the 3rd lifeline and muttered. However, he couldn't do what the heavenly human tribe did, borrowing the power of faith from the Yen tribe, or even using the flesh of the Yen tribe to sever the lifeline. That went against his principles. He would rather give up the opportunity than do that. Right? Let Hai Zong come out and take a look. Lu Ming's heart stirred. He thought of the Sea sect. Hai Zong had fused with the red stone. Perhaps he could find something. He waved his hand and brought Hai Zong out. After Hai Zong came out, he looked at Lu Ming with more admiration and respect than when he looked at a god. Lu Ming actually carried a world with him. Moreover, this world was vast and boundless. Hai Zong kept flying but couldn't see the end. Moreover, the cultivation environment of this world was much better than the stellar sky continent. Carrying such a world with him, Lu Ming's image in Hai Zong's heart was infinitely higher. Brother Lu Ming, is this the Ancestral Mountain? Hai Zong came out and adjusted himself. He looked around, and his muscles couldn't help but tense up. He was obviously very nervous. That was because the Ancestral Mountain was occupied by the heavenly human tribe. Don't worry, I've eliminated the heavenly human tribe. Lu Ming said. He's been eliminated? Hai Zong was a little confused and then shocked. The heavenly human tribe was eliminated by Lu Ming? Lu Ming's image in his heart continued to rise. Seeing Hai Zong's admiring gaze, Lu Ming couldn't help but touch his nose speechlessly. You're a man. Why are you looking at me like that? Awkward. Lu Ming wouldn't mind if it were a beauty. By the way, Hai Zong, what did you find after entering the Ancestral Mountain? Lu Ming changed the topic. Sure enough, when the Ancestral Mountain was mentioned, C-Sect immediately became spirited and continued to look around. At the same time, Haizong's body became somewhat fiery red. His blood flowed faster, and wisps of blood qi permeated the air. Finally, a figure wearing a royal robe and a crown condensed above his head. It held a royal sword in its hand, and it looked extremely majestic. Is this the lifeline? Haizong looked at the third lifeline and walked over. When he was in front of it, he stretched out his hand and placed it on top of it. A miraculous scene appeared. The third lifeline began to ripple like water. Then, the patriarch's hands sank in. It was as if the third lifeline was empty and had really turned into water. Even Lu Ming was taken aback. The lifeline of the ancestral mountain was fused with the other mountain ranges, but now, the rocks of the third mountain range seemed to have turned into water. Haizong took another step forward, and his entire arm seemed to sink in. Haizong's eyes darted around a few times, then he took a few steps back and pulled his arm out of the lifeline. What's going on, Haizong? Lu Ming quickly asked. Brother Lu Ming, I have a feeling that we can pass through the lifeline and enter the depths of the ancestral mountain without destroying it. Haizong said, It's possible? Lu Ming was shocked at first, but then he was overjoyed. If they could enter the depths of the ancestral mountain without destroying the lifeline, wouldn't they be able to obtain the opportunities in the ancestral mountain? Unfortunately, he couldn't go in. Brother Lu Ming, I can take you with me. Maybe we can go in together. Haizong said again. Lu Ming was a little surprised. Can you take me with you? I can try, but I think it's possible. Haizong nodded, and the blood qi on his body became denser. It slowly extended and shrouded Lu Ming. Brother Lu Ming, follow me. We'll move together. Haizong said. Lu Ming nodded and walked with Haizong toward the third lifeline. When Haizong's body came into contact with the third lifeline rippled like water. Haizong's body also sank into it as if he had entered water. After a few steps, Haizong's body had completely submerged into the third lifeline. Then Lu Ming followed and came into contact with the third lifeline. Just like Haizong, when Lu Ming came into contact with the third lifeline, his body also sank into the third lifeline as if he had entered water. It really works. Lu Ming was delighted. Soon, Lu Ming's body completely disappeared into the third lifeline. They walked through the third mountain peak as if they were walking in water. The hard rocks seemed to have turned into water. Lu Ming knew that this must have something to do with Haizong's bloodline and the Crimson Stone. Soon, the two of them passed through the third lifeline and arrived at the valley formed by the third and fourth lifelines. There really are desolation crystals. Lu Ming looked at the third lifeline and saw a large number of desolation crystals embedded in it. At a glance, there were no less than a few thousand of them. They were as dazzling as stars. As expected, there are more desolation crystals in each lifeline. There should be 4,000 here. There must be more inside. It should be fine if I take some. Lu Ming thought, then took out his weapon and began to dig. However, when Lu Ming's weapon hit the wall glowed. With a clang, Lu Ming was pushed back by a force and almost vomited blood. No, with the power of the lifeline protecting it, I can't dig it out. Lu Ming shook his head. Brother Lu Ming, do you need these crystals? Haizong asked. Yes, these crystals are very important to me. Lu Ming nodded. Then I can take some for you. Haizong said. He stretched out his hand and gently grabbed at the crystals. It was like grabbing a piece of wood floating in water. The desolation crystals were taken out by Haizong. Lu Ming was envious. This was too easy. Haizong, you don't have to take all of these crystals. Just half is enough. Lu Ming said. He was thinking for the Heavenly Star continent. If he took all of them, it would affect the population of the Heavenly Star continent. Haizong nodded and quickly took out the crystals. Soon, around 2,000 desolation crystals were taken out and given to Lu Ming. There are around 4,000 crystals. It should be enough for me to reach third-level Divine Lord. A smile appeared on Lu Ming's face. The two of them continued to look around. When they didn't find anything else, they continued on to the fourth lifeline. Just like before, They passed through the fourth lifeline like a ripple and arrived at the valley formed by the fourth and fifth lifeline. As expected, the fourth lifeline was also embedded with a large number of desolation crystals. It was twice as many as the third lifeline. Chapter 45-98. Lu Ming was tempted and planned to take more. It would be a waste if he didn't take some of the desolate crystals. Lu Ming asked Hai Zong to help and took half of the crystals. Half of them, a total of 4,000 primordial crystals, landed in Lu Ming's hands. In that case, Lu Ming had a total of 8,000 primeval crystals. I'm rich. If there are twice as many desolate crystals as there are outside, even if I only take half of them, it's still a lot. Lu Ming pondered. Soon, they continued to move towards the fifth lifeline. They passed through without any obstruction. True enough, during the internal testing of the fifth lifeline, there were more primordial crystals. There were 16,000 pieces. Lu Ming got Hai Zong to take 8,000 pieces before he continued his journey. Lu Ming asked Hai Zong to take 16,000 desolate crystals in the sixth lifeline. The seventh lifeline was tested internally, and 32,000 pieces were taken out. For the internal test of the eighth lifeline, he obtained 64,000 great desolate crystals. In this way, Lu Ming had a shocking 128,000 pieces of primordial crystals. This number was absolutely shocking. Even Lu Ming would be able to clear a few rounds consecutively. A great opportunity. It's really a great opportunity. I must find a chance to go into seclusion. My cultivation will definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Lu Ming thought. Unfortunately, there were no desolate crystals in the ninth lifeline. Not a single one. However, they found a pool under the ninth lifeline's wall. There was a bright red liquid in the pool. That aura, Lu Ming and Hai Zong were shocked, because they found that the liquid in the pool was very similar to the aura of the red stone. It was almost the same. Could it be that the red stone came from this pool? The pool emitted a hazy light. Looking at the pool, Hai Zong seemed to be half-possessed and couldn't help but step forward. Hai Zong, be careful. Lu Ming reminded Hai Zong to calm down. Big brother Lu Ming, I have a feeling that this pool will be of great help to the other party. I instinctively desire to enter this pool to cultivate. His eyes were fixed on the cistern, and a look of deep longing could be seen in his eyes. Lu Ming frowned. Perhaps this was a great lucky chance for the C faction, but he couldn't guarantee that there wouldn't be any danger. As Hai Zong finished speaking, he continued walking forwards. Lu Ming could only follow beside Hai Zong. If there was anything wrong, he could help at any time. However, when he got close, a powerful force blocked Lu Ming's path. This power was indestructible. It was not something that Lu Ming could break through. As for Hai Zong, he was completely unaffected. Hai Zong continued onward until he stepped into the blood pool. As soon as he entered the blood pool, the blood-colored liquid drilled into Hai Zong's body. Hai Zong closed his eyes, apparently absorbing and refining it. Boom! In the next moment, Hai Zong's aura skyrocketed. He broke through from the empty god realm to the true god realm. It is indeed a lucky chance. There is no danger. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. He was happy for Hai Zong. After a while, Hai Zong's aura stabilized at the first level of the true god realm. He continued to absorb and refine the blood-colored liquid. Lu Ming could feel that Hai Zong's bloodline power had become stronger. The suppression on Lu Ming was also slowly increasing. Is there really a hierarchy in the human race's bloodline? Could it be that there were humans in the last era? Lu Ming's mind was filled with thoughts. However, he had too little information. No matter how much he thought, he couldn't think of anything. As time passed, Hai Zong's aura skyrocketed again. He broke through from the first level of the true god realm to the second level of the true god realm. This speed of improvement was really shocking. At the same time, Hai Zong's bloodline power seemed to have become stronger. It seems like Hai Zong won't end his cultivation in a short time. Lu Ming said in a low voice. Since Hai Zong was fine, Lu Ming looked around. He had already passed through the 9 lifelines and entered the core of the ancestral mountain. Inside, there was only a mountain peak that looked like a sharp sword. This mountain peak was the tallest, piercing through the clouds. It was taller than the other 9 lifelines. However, it occupied a very small area. It really looked like a sharp sword stabbed into the ground. There's a door. Lu Ming's eyes moved. He found that there was a stone door at the bottom of this mountain. However, the stone door was closed. Lu Ming couldn't help but be a little tempted. Inside this mountain peak was the true core of the ancestral mountain. The previous 9 lifelines surrounded this mountain peak. It was more like a kind of protection. What was inside? Was it a mountain of source-level divine weapons? Or a shocking amount of desolation crystals? Let's go in and take a look. Lu Ming decided to go in and take a look. Since he was already here, how could he not go in and take a look? However, Lu Ming would not let his guard down. The surface of his body was filled with taboo power, ready to make a move at any time. At the same time, Qiuqiu wriggled and turned into an armor, covering Lu Ming's body. From many angles, it proved that the ancestral mountain was likely passed down from the previous era. After countless years, it was still extraordinary. This was definitely not simple. Lu Ming would not be careless. He slowly approached the stone door, but there was no reaction at all. When Lu Ming walked to the stone door, there was still no abnormality. Lu Ming condensed a big hand with taboo power, pressed on the stone door, and pushed hard. With a click, the stone door opened. Lu Ming was a little stunned. All of this was simple beyond his imagination. He originally thought that it would take at least some effort. When the stone door opened, light came from inside. Looking inside, he could vaguely see that the mountain peak was empty, forming a rather large space. Finally, Lu Ming stepped out and walked through the stone door. It was still the same sentence. Since he was already here, he had to check it out. There was no abnormality or danger. Lu Ming walked through the stone door, walked through a short passage, and came to a space inside the mountain. The center of the mountain peak was hollow. The surrounding walls were very smooth, and there were lines carved on them. Not only on the walls, but on the ground as well. Countless lines intertwined, covering the entire space inside the mountain. And in the center, there was a protruding stone pillar, and on the stone pillar was a box. The box was about 1 meter in length, width, and height, and seemed to be made of bronze. It looked very simple and full of the aura of time. There were 8 altars in 8 directions around the stone pillar. There was a flame on each of the 8 altars, like a candle flame. It was not big and slowly burned. Apart from that, there was nothing else in this space inside the mountain. These lines intertwine and seem to form some kind of large array. However, this large array seems to have lost its effect. There is no reaction when I step on it. Lu Ming thought. The place he stepped on was also full of runes, but there was no reaction at all. The large array was not activated. Perhaps too many years had passed, and the large array had lost its effect. In the end, Lu Ming's gaze fell on the bronze box. Chapter 4599. The bronze chest looked simple and unadorned. It was unknown what was inside. However, there was only one chest in this mountain space. Moreover, it was placed so solemnly in the middle. The thing inside must be extraordinary. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and finally decided to open it to take a look. However, Lu Ming did not approach it. Instead, he used his taboo energy to form 2 big hands, grabbing the chest and trying to open it. However, the chest did not budge. Lu Ming tried again, but the chest still did not budge. Right at this time, the bronze chest suddenly emitted a gentle light. Lu Ming was startled and quickly withdrew his taboo energy. He saw a line of words appear on the side of the chest. "Kid, don't waste your energy. You can't open it." There was no sound, only this line of words. It appeared for a few breaths of time and then disappeared. However, Lu Ming saw it clearly. There was no mistake. "Senior, may I ask who you are? Can you come out and meet me?" Lu Ming called out. "I'm right in front of you. Can't you see?" Another line appeared on the chest. Lu Ming was a little confused. He stared at the bronze chest for a while and said, "Senior, are you inside the chest?" "No, I'm this chest." Another line appeared on the chest. "It's this chest?" Lu Ming was even more confused. It turned out that this chest was alive and was actually talking to him. Could it be that this chest was a supreme treasure that had already given birth to intelligence? Various thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. He asked, "So it's? Senior chest. Senior, where is this place? Is it left behind from the previous era?" "Don't call me senior. I'm just a chest." Another line appeared on the chest. "Lu Ming." The first line disappeared and a new line appeared. "I don't know anything else. I only know that this is the place where the human king's remains are sealed." Human king's remains? For some reason, Lu Ming's heart shook when he heard this. He continued to ask, "Senior, what's a human king's remains?" "The remains of the sovereign personage are the remains of the sovereign personage. Sealed in this box is an arm of the sovereign personage." A sentence appeared on the chest. "Human monarch? What does it have to do with the human race?" Lu Ming asked. He had no idea what a human king meant. Some monarchs of mortal kingdoms also called themselves human kings. However, this was clearly not a mortal emperor. The human king is the king of the human race, one of the strongest experts of the human race. He commands the endless human race and oppresses the eldritch continent. Another sentence appeared on the chest. The great desolate continent is indeed a remnant from the previous epoch. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, but he immediately thought of another problem. Were there really humans in the primeval continent of the last epoch? Could it be that there are also humans in the eldritch continent? Lu Ming asked the question in his heart. Of course. Although the great desolate continent had many races, the human race was the strongest race without a doubt. Experts were as common as clouds. The human king suppressed the entire great desolate continent, an expert who stood at the peak of the great desolate continent. However, the human king was killed later on. His soul scattered, and his corpse disintegrated, sealed in different places. This place is one of them. The words on the chest appeared and disappeared. A few sentences appeared consecutively. Lu Ming was flabbergasted. He could not recover his composure for a long time. These words gave him too much information. There were humans in the great desolate continent of the previous epoch. What shocked Lu Ming was that the human race was actually the strongest race in the great desolate continent, suppressing the other races. As for the human king, he was the king of the human race, a peak expert of the great desolate continent. Lu Ming really did not expect the human race to be so strong in the previous epoch. Could it be that the humans of the great desolate universe were all the bloodlines left behind by the humans of the previous epoch? They were the bloodlines of the experts of the previous epoch, born after the passage of time. For example, the flame race. Could it be that the flame race was born from the human king's arm? Aside from this reason, there was no other explanation. Of course, he still had to ask, "Senior, could it be that the flame race of this continent was born from the human king's arm?" Lu Ming asked, "Are you talking about that brat outside?" "That's right. He was born from the bloodstains left behind by the human king's arm." "Also, don't call me senior. I'm just a chest." A few more sentences appeared on the chest. The last sentence left Lu Ming speechless. "So, that's how it is. The flame race was born from the bloodstains left behind by the human king's arm. In that case, were the other humans of the great desolate universe also born from the flesh and blood left behind by the experts of the previous epoch?" Lu Ming's imagination ran wild. Then, he thought about how the human race was born. In that case, what about the other races of the universe? Most of the races of the universe evolved from the descendants of the various primordial gods. In that case, what about the primordial gods? Where did they come from? According to the legends of the universe, the primordial gods were born when the universe first opened. In the past, Lu Ming also thought so. But now, Lu Ming had more ideas. Because the current great desolate universe was also a part of the great desolate continent of the previous epoch. In that case, were the primordial gods born naturally when the universe first opened, or were they related to the experts of the previous epoch? He thought of Guemo again. Guemo said that he was the first demon bone at the beginning of the universe. This demon bone might have been an expert of the previous epoch in his previous life. In that case, what about the primordial gods? The more Lu Ming thought about it, the more his mind opened up. Could it be that he had discovered the secret of the birth of life in the great desolate universe? However, he also thought that the heavenly human race didn't seem to have evolved from the primordial gods, and they weren't primordial gods themselves. Then, how did the heavenly human race appear? Also, the demons were the same. After a long while, Lu Ming's heart gradually calmed down. Say, well, may I ask why the great desolate continent was so prosperous in the past? Also, if the human king was so powerful, why was he killed and his body divided and sealed? Lu Ming asked. He was very curious about the great desolate continent of the previous epoch. He wanted to know what happened back then. From all the information he knew, the great desolate continent of the previous epoch was a prosperous time for cultivation. Its strength was many times stronger than the current great desolate continent and the heavenly human race. They were so powerful, so powerful. Why was it that even the great desolate continent was destroyed? Also, the human king was so powerful. Who killed him and divided his body and sealed it? Lu Ming wanted to know all these thoroughly. I don't know. He didn't expect to see such words on the box. You don't know? How can you not know? Aren't you a box left behind by the previous epoch? Lu Ming was a little anxious and asked continuously. Please, I'm just a box. Chapter 4600. Come on, I'm just a box. The box's reply was very simple. Nestle. Lu Ming wanted to curse. What could he say? What else could he say? The other party was really just a box. Could he curse at a box? Then can you teach me some qi cultivation techniques from the last era? Lu Ming asked again. No, I'm just a box. The box replied. Lu Ming was speechless. What a useless box. Then why did you let me in? You don't know anything. Lu Ming complained. First, you have to understand that I didn't let you in. You came in by yourself. The box replied. Lu Ming was speechless. In addition, you came in. You can obtain an arm of the human king. That's your supreme opportunity. Why are you complaining? The box replied again. Lu Ming's eyes immediately lit up. You're saying that I can obtain an arm of the human king, but I can't open your box at all. Look at the surroundings, it's full of rune formations. Since this formation can seal an arm of the human king, it's definitely not something I can break open, right? Lu Ming said. The human king, as the peak expert of the last era who suppressed the Eldritch continent, must have unfathomable strength. It was definitely not as simple as the origin realm. Perhaps it was the legendary realm, transcendence. Transcendence beyond the universe, transcendence beyond reincarnation, true immortality. Of course, that realm was just a legend. Since the birth of the Eldritch universe, no one had reached it. However, the Eldritch continent of the last era was so prosperous and powerful. It was not strange that someone had reached it. As for the person who set up the array, he was able to kill the king of killers and seal his corpse. How could Lu Ming compare to him? Don't worry, too much time has passed. The sealing power has weakened too much. Moreover, you happen to be a human. You can break this sealing formation. Do you see those 8 altars? As long as you drip your blood on those flames, the flames on the altars will be extinguished. Once the flames are extinguished, the formation will be broken and you will be able to open me and obtain the arm of the human king. Words kept appearing on the chest. Why can't you speak? Lu Ming asked. Generally speaking, whether it was a weapon or something else with spiritual intelligence, it could at least speak with its spiritual sense. Please, I'm just a box. The box answered. What else could Lu Ming say? Human blood can extinguish the flames on the 8 altars and break the seals? Is it that simple? Lu Ming asked. It's that simple. The box answered. Your original target wasn't me, he said. It must have been that C-sect disciple out there. He's also a human, and his bloodline is even purer than mine. Lu Ming asked again. That's right, but later I realized that you're actually more suitable than him. The box answered. So, everything was arranged by you. C-sect's grandpa's crimson stone was also given out by you. I'm really curious. As the box that sealed the arm of the human king, why did you let it out? Lu Ming asked. Clearly, Lu Ming didn't believe this box because there were too many suspicious points. He finally understood why C-Sec's grandpa could obtain the Crimson Stone. It was most likely this box deliberately let it out. This box was obviously used to seal the arm of the human king. Now, it wanted to let the arm out. Wasn't that suspicious? Kid, are you doubting me? Let me tell you, my spiritual intelligence was born later. When I was born, I was already here. What does sealing the arm of the human king have to do with me? Also, the one who arranged all this was not me, but the arm of the human king. The box said. So that's how it is. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The arm of the human king arranged all this. Could it be that the consciousness of the human king hasn't dissipated and is still alive? Lu Ming asked in shock. The human king is definitely dead. His soul was extinguished long ago. The arm of the human king did this out of instinct. It came from the instinct of the arm of the human king. It instinctively wanted to break free. Therefore, after the seal weakened, a trace of blood seeped out of the arm and gave birth to the Yen clan. When the Yen clan gave birth to a truly powerful genius, the arm could be released. The box said. Then why did you choose me? If C-Sect came, he could also release the arm of the human king. Lu Ming asked. It's very simple. Although C-Sect inherited a trace of the human king's bloodline and has great potential, he is still inferior to you. Although your human bloodline is not strong, you are strong and have boundless potential. So, you are more suitable. After releasing the arm of the human king, you have an even more difficult task, which is to find the other parts of the human king's corpse and release them so that the body can return to its original position. The box said. Return the body of the human king to its original position? Why do I have to do this? This process is probably very dangerous. Lu Ming said. Although the human king was the ancestor of the human race and returning his body to its original position was something that should be done, this process was definitely very dangerous. However, this process was definitely very dangerous. It concerned his life. Lu Ming was not so foolish as to agree foolishly. Kid, it looks like you still don't know the importance of the human king's body. The human king was too powerful. Although he is dead and his soul has been extinguished, the body he left behind is indestructible. If you can return his body to its original position and control it, you will be able to dominate the world, becoming invincible throughout history. The box said. Dominate the world, becoming invincible throughout history? Can you kill a reciprocity cultivator? Lu Ming asked. A mere reciprocity cultivator can be killed with a flick of my finger. The box replied. This time, Lu Ming was truly tempted. If he could obtain the body of the human king, would he not be invincible? Would he not be able to flatten the heavenly palace? Reshape the structure of the universe? Then, the taboo sword ancestor Tang Feng saw a corner of the future, saying that there would be a bitter war. Could it be resolved? This was completely feasible. Furthermore, after careful analysis, he found that there were no flaws in the box's words. The arm of the human king instinctively wanted to break the seal and fuse with the other parts of the human king's body to form a complete body. That was why the Yen clan was born. The red stone contained a trace of the human king's bloodline. Anyone in the Yen clan who could fuse with it could freely enter the ancestral mountain and release the arm of the human king. Then, they could take the arm of the human king to search for the other parts of the human king's body. All of this was reasonable and logical. Kid, this is a great opportunity. It's up to you whether you choose or not. If you don't choose, there will naturally be others. After all, there are countless people in the Yen clan. There will always be someone who will come here. Another sentence appeared on the box. Then, it became silent and did not say a word. All right, I'll try. Lu Ming pondered for a long time before nodding in the end. He still decided to try. If he could really gather the body of the human king, he could resolve the crisis of the celestial race in one fell swoop. This way, his family and friends could cultivate in peace. Otherwise, once a great war broke out, no one could say for sure what would happen. No one could guarantee that they would survive the bitter war. Chapter 4601. Lu Ming walked to one of the altars and squeezed out a drop of blood from his finger onto the flame. With a puff, the flame was extinguished. Lu Ming's eyes flickered as he walked to the second altar. Using the same trick, he squeezed out a drop of blood and dripped it onto the flame. Then, the flame was extinguished again. It's really strange. This array is clearly sealing the arm of the human king, but it can be broken with the blood of a human. Lu Ming couldn't help but have a new doubt in his heart. He really couldn't figure out the principle behind this. In the end, Lu Ming shook his head. Let's break the seal first. If there's really any danger, I'll just leave immediately. Puff! Soon, the flames on the 8 altars were all extinguished by Lu Ming. However, the surrounding runes didn't react at all. They couldn't see any abnormality in the array being broken. The array is broken just like that? Lu Ming asked the bronze chest. Yes, you can open me now. The bronze chest replied. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Without hesitation, he condensed 2 big hands with his taboo energy and grabbed the chest from a distance. Then he opened it. This time, it was very easy. The bronze chest was easily opened. As soon as the bronze chest was opened, an aura spread out from it. This aura was majestic, vast, and ancient. In front of this aura, Lu Ming felt very small. It was as if an ant had to kneel down in front of a divine dragon. Lu Ming circulated his taboo energy with all his might to prevent himself from kneeling down. This aura is too similar to the aura of the Ocean Sect bloodline. However, it's much more vast and superior. Is this the bloodline of the human king? Lu Ming felt his breathing become heavy. After the Ocean Sect fused with the red stone, it emitted a powerful pressure and a figure would appear. That figure wore a crown and a royal robe. It held a royal sword in its hand. It was very likely to be the human king. However, it was far inferior to the aura emitted by the chest in front of him. Lu Ming looked carefully and saw that there was really an arm in the bronze chest. It was a right arm. However, it wasn't made of flesh and blood. Instead, it was made of stone. The chest, why is it a stone arm? Lu Ming asked. It's very normal. This is the self-protection of the human king's arm. Petrification can seal essence energy and slow down the loss of essence energy. The box answered. Lu Ming nodded. Now, he basically believed what the box said. This was because what the box had said was true. After a while, the aura of the human king arm disappeared. Extraordinary returned to ordinary, as if it had really become an ordinary arm made of stone, quietly lying in the chest. Lu Ming walked over, cupped his fists, and bowed deeply to the arm. After all, this was the arm of the human king. It could be said that this was the ancestor of the human race. It was worthy of Lu Ming's bow. After bowing, Lu Ming reached out and grabbed the human king's arm. Out of Lu Ming's expectations, it was very light, only 100 jin or so. Lu Ming originally thought that the arm of a human would be very heavy. Must I gather all the bodies of the human king before I can use it? Can I use it now? Lu Ming muttered. With your conditions, you can actually barely use it. A sentence appeared on the chest. I can use it too? Lu Ming was delighted. Yes, you are very strong, and the power you control is no small matter. You can barely borrow a trace of the human king's arm's power. As long as you circulate your power and let the human king's right arm fuse with your arm, you can temporarily unleash a trace of the human king's arm's power. However, from my observation, you can only use it for a breath's time at most before all of your power is drained. The chest answered. A breath's time. Lu Ming muttered, I just don't know how strong I can unleash. If it's very strong, a breath's time can be used as a trump card. Lu Ming planned to find a chance to give it a try after leaving this place. Chest, how many parts of the human king's body are there? Lu Ming asked. A total of 7 parts, for limbs, head, torso, and heart. The chest said. So many parts, where are they scattered? Do you know? Lu Ming asked. I'm not sure. You have to find it yourself. Don't ask me everything. You have to know that I'm just a chest. The chest said. Lu Ming was speechless. He was really speechless. Where was he going to find it? How big was the chaos universe and the universe ruins? Finding the other 6 parts of the human king's body in the vast chaos universe and the universe ruins was 10,000 times harder than finding a needle in a haystack. In the end, Lu Ming could only put the bronze chest into the chaos ring. Then he looked around and found nothing else, so he left. Hai Zong was still in the blood pool. Lu Ming guessed that this blood pool contained a trace of blood from the human king's arm. This was definitely a great opportunity for Hai Zong. Lu Ming sat there cross-legged, took out the chaos crystal, and began to absorb and refine it. As he refined the chaos crystal, he waited. A day later, the liquid in the blood pool was completely absorbed by Hai Zong. Hai Zong's aura was constantly rising. Now, he had reached the heavenly god realm. This speed was too shocking. When Lu Ming first met Hai Zong's cultivation was only in the heavenly emperor realm. He was not even in the void god realm. But now, he had reached the heavenly god realm. At the same time, above Hai Zong's head, the figure wearing a crown, wearing a royal robe, and holding a royal sword appeared again, exuding a powerful pressure. Hai Zong's bloodline power was stronger. His potential and talent had also been greatly improved. Is this the human king's bloodline? I wonder how far Hai Zong's cultivation will go in the future. Should I take him as my disciple? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. To be honest, Lu Ming was very tempted. Hai Zong's talent and potential were definitely strong. His future achievements were limitless. If he took him as his disciple, he would be a great help to Lu Ming in the future. However, Lu Ming really did not have the time to teach him. Let's bring him back first. Senior Fei Huang and the others can train him. Lu Ming thought. Big brother Lu Ming. Hai Zong retracted his aura and came to Lu Ming's side. Congratulations, Hai Zong. Your cultivation has increased by another level. Now let's go. Lu Ming said. Alright. Hai Zong nodded. Although he was a little puzzled as to why they did not enter the mountain to take a look, he admired Lu Ming very much. Whatever Lu Ming said, he would do. Their exit went smoothly. Hai Zong led them through the lifeline of the ancestral mountain and arrived outside. Big brother Lu Ming, where are you going next? Hai Zong asked. I'm going to leave the heavenly star continent to travel and adventure. Lu Ming said. Hai Zong's face changed and said, Then, if the heavenly human tribe comes again, what should we do? Chapter 4602. Lu Ming also frowned slightly. This was also what he was worried about. Yi Ling Tianshou's father was a heavenly venerate. That heavenly venerate definitely knew that Yi Ling Tianshou was in the heavenly star continent. Now that Yi Ling Tianshou was killed, that heavenly venerate might already know. After all, if a person's soul was tied to an item, the corresponding item would immediately sense it when the person died. This kind of thing already existed in the small world. For example, life tablets. When a person died, the life tablet would shatter. However, such things were relatively rare in the great desolate universe. They were mainly used to create life tablets, which required a trace of soul energy. Although just a trace was enough, it would still affect the soul, causing the soul to be incomplete. This was detrimental to cultivation. Hence, in the great desolate universe, especially some strong outstanding talents, very rarely did this in pursuit of perfection. However, the other party involved a heavenly venerate. Who knew if there were other ways to sense Yi Ling Tianshou's safety? If the other party knew, they would quickly rush over. Even if they could not sense it now, they would discover it sooner or later. It was just a matter of time. After the heavenly venerate discovered it, it would be hard to preserve the heavenly star continent under his rage. The Yen race would also find it hard to survive. What should Lu Ming do? This was also what troubled him. Why don't you just use the great desolate ring to move the entire heavenly star continent away? Bone Demon's voice came from Xiao Chen's sea of consciousness. How is it possible to put the heavenly star continent into the great desolate ring? How can I have such a cultivation? Lu Ming said. It was not that he had not thought of this method before. The great desolate ring was indeed big enough. The area inside was definitely larger than the heavenly star continent. It was more than enough to store the entire heavenly star continent. If Shao Chun put the heavenly star continent into the Great Desolate Ring, he could make it float above the Great Desolate Ring. This was because the Great Desolate Ring was completely under Lu Ming's control. However, Shao Chun could not do it. If he wanted to put the entire heavenly star continent into the Great Desolate Ring, he would need a lot of strength to control the Great Desolate Ring. With his current cultivation, it was not enough. Even if he broke through to the third layer Divine Master Realm, it was far from enough. Didn't you just obtain the Human King's arm and want to test its strength? Isn't this a good time to try it? Use the Human King's arm strength to control the Great Desolate Ring and see if you can put the Heavenly Star Continent into it. Gumo said. Lu Ming pondered. That's right, the arm of a Human King. He had almost overlooked it. It might really work. Lu Ming decided to give it a try. However, there was still some preparation work to be done before the experiment. Immediately, Lu Ming and Hai Zong returned to the deep lake Abyssal Abyss. Lu Ming told Defiant God Heaven his idea. The reason why he told Defiant God Heaven was that he wanted him to help stabilize the hearts of the people. Otherwise, if the Heavenly Star Continent was suddenly sucked into the Great Desolate Ring, the entire Yen race would be in chaos. When Against God's Heaven and the others heard Lu Ming's idea, they were dumbfounded. This idea was simply too crazy. The Stellar Sky Continent was so vast, and its territory was incomparably vast. How could such a huge world be stored in a ring? Was that even possible? Fortunately, it was Lu Ming who said it. If it was someone else, they would probably despise them. Is this really okay? Defiant God Heaven was still skeptical. No matter what, we have to give it a try. Otherwise, when the stronger experts of the heavenly human race arrive, the Yen race will definitely be annihilated. The entire Stellar Sky Continent might not be preserved, Lu Ming said. Alright, then let's give it a try. Senior Lu Ming, go ahead and do it. Leave the matter of stabilizing the hearts of the people to us. Defiant God Heaven Dao. Lu Ming did not delay any longer. He soared into the sky and rushed into the sky above the Stellar Sky Continent. Looking down from afar, the Stellar Sky Continent seemed to have become the size of a table. Lu Ming took out the Great Desolate Ring and injected forbidden energy. The Great Desolate Ring floated in the air, and a huge vortex appeared above the Stellar Sky Continent. The vortex emitted a strong attractive force, but this attractive force was far from enough to suck the Stellar Sky Continent in. Let's try the Human King's right arm. Lu Ming's mind moved, and the bronze box appeared in his hand. He opened the bronze box and took out the Human King's right arm. Merge. Lu Ming shouted and injected forbidden energy into the Human King's right arm. Buzz. The Human King's right arm vibrated, and a hazy radiance spread from it. Then, it turned into a ray of light and merged with Lu Ming's right arm. One could see that Lu Ming's right arm overlapped with the Human King's right arm. At this moment, Lu Ming felt an incomparably strong energy spreading from his right arm to his entire body. This was especially true for his right arm. The energy was even stronger. Lu Ming had a feeling that he could shatter the Stellar Sky Continent with a single punch. However, his expression changed in the next moment. This was because he felt all the forbidden energy in his body rushing towards his right arm. At this speed, it would take at most one breath for all the energy in his body to be sucked dry. Great Desolate Ring, collect it. Lu Ming roared and controlled the energy in his right arm with all his might, injecting this energy into the Great Desolate Ring. This was also because the Great Desolate Ring was of an extremely high grade. If it were any other weapon, such a strong influx of energy would have directly exploded. When this energy entered the Great Desolate Ring, the Great Desolate Ring vibrated intensely and emitted a dazzling radiance. That whirlpool suddenly became bigger, covering the sky and the sun. It enveloped the entire Stellar Sky Continent. A strong suction force enveloped the Stellar Sky Continent. The Stellar Sky Continent immediately shook and flew towards the Great Desolate Ring. Furthermore, it quickly shrank and flew into the Great Desolate Ring, disappearing. Success! Lu Ming was overjoyed. He immediately kept the Human King's right arm and stored it in the bronze box. Hoo-hoo! Lu Ming panted heavily. In that short moment, 90% of his energy had been sucked out by the human king's right arm. The bronze box said that with his cultivation, he could control the human king's right arm for at most one breath's time. It seemed like it was true. Right now, his condition was extremely bad. Any random divine lord could take his life. Of course, he still had Qiuqiu to protect him. Right now, there was no time to recover his cultivation. Lu Ming's spiritual consciousness condensed in the great desolate ring. The stellar sky continent was suspended high in the sky. It was very far from the original great desolate continent. There wouldn't be too much of an impact between them. From Lu Ming's perspective, it seemed like he was looking at two different skies. Not bad, not bad. It's good that it won't affect the original great desolate continent. If it does, I'll have to find a place to release the stellar sky continent. Lu Ming smiled. At this moment, the stellar sky continent was in chaos. In the eyes of the stellar sky continent's Yen tribe, it felt as if the stars had changed. This naturally caused them to panic. However, God-defying heaven was already prepared. They were sending people to calm the people down. Lu Ming didn't need to care about what happened next. Lu Ming withdrew from the great desolate ring. Then he took out a piece of great desolate crystal and absorbed the energy within. At the same time, his body turned into a beam of light and flew out, leaving this place. Chapter 4603. He could no longer stay in this region. Lu Ming left and flew into the distance. As he flew, he absorbed desolation crystals to replenish his energy. Along the way, he passed by several barren continents, but Lu Ming did not stop. This place was still too far from the original location of the Heavenly Star Continent. If Yi Ling Tianshou's father arrived and a heavenly venerate went berserk, the nearby continents would also be affected. Lu Ming planned to fly further away. After flying for a day and a night, Lu Ming finally stopped on a barren continent and found a secluded place. Lu Ming sat down cross-legged, took out desolation crystals, and quickly absorbed them. Before long, Lu Ming's cultivation finally recovered to its peak state. Now, where should I go? A human king's body has no direction. Lu Ming pondered. Returning to the Heaven Destroyer Station was clearly not what Lu Ming wanted. He had not been out for long, and Xian Yanqing and the others were definitely still in seclusion. In the end, Lu Ming decided to continue adventuring in the ruins of the universe. He would cultivate as he traveled. After his trip to the Heavenly Star Continent, Lu Ming was even more certain that only by constantly adventuring could his cultivation continue to rise. If he had not come to the Heavenly Star Continent to travel, how could Lu Ming's cultivation have risen to the second layer of the Divine Master Realm so quickly? Moreover, he had around 120,000 desolation crystals, enough for him to break through several layers. Furthermore, Qiuqiu had reached the third layer of the Divine Master Realm. This was something that could not be achieved in the peaceful seclusion of the Heaven Destroyer Station. According to the corner of the future that the Forbidden Sword ancestor Tang Feng had seen, there would be a great war in the near future. He did not have much time left, so he had to make the best use of his time and raise his cultivation as quickly as possible. At the very least, he had to be at the Origin Realm before the Great War. Although Divine Masters could be called peak experts of the primitive universe, once a great war erupted that involved the universe, Divine Masters would not be enough. They could fall at any time. Only those at the Origin Realm could barely protect themselves. He had to reach the Origin Realm as soon as possible. The Heavenly Star Continent should be the core of the Heavenly Star Continent. Even if there are opportunities in the other continents, there should not be many. Now that the Heavenly Star Continent has been stored in my Desolation Ring, there is no longer any place for me to stay. I should go to other regions. Where should I go? Lu Ming pondered. In the end, Lu Ming decided to go to the depths of the Heavenly Star Continent. The deeper one went into the ruins of the universe, the more dangerous it would be, but the more opportunities there would be. However, before heading to the depths of the universe ruins, Lu Ming still needed to be in seclusion for a while. Xiao Qun had to raise his cultivation first. He could not afford to waste the 120,000 great desolate crystals on hand. Lu Ming cast the transference skill and left this place, flying further away. Heavenly, 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 heavenly heavens, heavens, heavenly heavens. This was someone from the celestial clan. His hair and beard were all white, but his aura was like a deep sea, incomparably terrifying. Tianshou! Tianshou! God damn it! Who killed you? The old man roared furiously as a terrifying presence permeated the surroundings. Cracks appeared in space, extending into the distance. It was an extremely shocking sight. The old man was Yi Ling Tianshou's father, an extremely powerful heavenly exalt. There used to be a continent here, but it's gone now. Apart from origin realm existences, no one has the strength to do so. However, it doesn't matter if you're at origin realm or some other cultivation realm. You can't escape after killing my son. You will die. I will definitely find out who killed my son. The old man roared furiously. His voice was filled with cold killing intent. After that he sat down cross-legged. His body glowed, as though he had fused with the entire space. His body was like the space. Nothing in this space could escape his senses. He sensed for 7 days. 7 days later, the old man suddenly opened his eyes. They shone brightly, piercing through space like 2 sharp swords. They pierced 2 holes in an extremely distant, desolate continent. Forbidden power. A forbidden power appeared on the heavenly star continent not long ago. Who is it? Tang Feng or Fei Huang? No, the remnant forbidden power is very weak. It's only at the level of a divine master. It's not the 2 of them. It's Lu Ming. Yes, it must be that little bastard. The old man's voice was extremely cold. It had to be said that this person's methods were truly unfathomable. Even Lu Ming had never thought that this person would still be able to sense the remnant presence in space even after the heavenly star continent had been taken away. He had determined that Lu Ming had been here. The old man was very certain that the person who had killed his son was Lu Ming. Although he did not know what method Lu Ming had used to take away the heavenly star continent, only Lu Ming fit the criteria based on the strength of the forbidden power. Little bastard, you dare to kill my son? I'll make you suffer a fate worse than death. A terrifying light flickered through the old man's eyes. He then closed his eyes and continued to sense. After a period of time, the old man suddenly opened his eyes and looked towards the depths of the universe ruins. According to the remnant presence, that kid should have gone to the depths of the universe ruins. The old man whispered and then turned into a rainbow light, heading towards the depths of the universe ruins. This direction was the direction that Lu Ming had gone. Not long after, the old man came to the continent where Lu Ming had stopped to recover. Could he be hiding here? Little bastard, get out here. The old man shouted and stood in the sky above the continent. He looked down from above and blasted out a palm. Suddenly, the power of heavenly punishment erupted. Endless lightning fell from the old man's palm and enveloped the entire continent. Boom, boom, boom. Destructive explosions occurred all over the continent. In the end, the continent even exploded, turning into smaller continents. No one? Could it be that he has already left? The old man frowned and continued to sit cross-legged, probing. After a period of time, the old man opened his eyes and said coldly, "Sure enough, he has already left. Kid, no matter where you escape to, I will catch up to you." After saying that, the old man turned into a rainbow light and chased towards the depths of the universe ruins. After a period of time, he left the heavenly star region and entered the boundless void. However, after chasing for a while in the void, he suddenly stopped. Because Lu Ming's aura had disappeared here. Damn it, what's going on? Why did the aura disappear without a trace after arriving here? What happened? Could it be that the kid encountered a cosmic storm? The old man growled. In fact, his guess was right. Lu Ming had really encountered a cosmic storm. He had left the heavenly star region and planned to go to another region before finding a place to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time. Yi Ling Tianshou's father was a heavenly venerable. To Lu Ming, a heavenly venerable was unfathomable and unpredictable. For safety reasons, it was best to stay as far away from the heavenly star region as possible. Chapter 4604. Not long after Lu Ming left the heavenly star region and entered the void, he encountered a cosmic storm. A cosmic storm was a calamity that would only appear in the void of the ruins of the universe. Cosmic storms were extremely terrifying. Once they encountered one, even reciprocity experts would have to avoid it. Even divine lords would have a slim chance of surviving. Lu Ming could only sigh at his bad luck. The region covered by the cosmic storm was just too large. In the end, Lu Ming had no choice but to enter the Chaos Ring. When facing other experts, it was unwise to enter the Chaos Ring to hide. What was the point of leaving the Chaos Ring outside once you entered? Wouldn't you be at the mercy of others? But in the face of such a calamity, the Chaos Ring could be used to hide. The Chaos Ring was one of the 4 supreme treasures of the Heavenly Court. Its grade was even higher than the 18 divine weapons of the Heavenly Court. Its material was indestructible and could block the cosmic storm. However, the Great Desolation Ring was also carried away by the cosmic storm to a very far place. Moreover, the cosmic storm destroyed everything in its path, including Lu Ming's aura. So when Yiling Tianshou's father chased after him, he lost track of Lu Ming's aura. Lu Ming hid in the Chaos Ring for an unknown amount of time before the outside world calmed down. Lu Ming guessed that the cosmic storm had already passed before Lu Ming came out of the Chaos Ring. Where am I? Lu Ming was at a loss. He discovered that he seemed to have entered a new area. However, he had no idea which area it was exactly. Lu Ming took out a map and looked at it for a while. He was at a loss. After all, even if he had a map, he needed to know where he was. If he didn't even know where he was, it was useless even if he had a map. Forget it. No matter where I am, I should be very far away from the Heavenly Star region. I'll find a place to cultivate in peace. Lu Ming pondered. Before long, he found a desolate continent. He entered the continent and began to absorb and refine the chaos crystals. On the other side, Yiling Tianshou's father was extremely unwilling to lose track of Lu Ming. In the end, he continued to fly into the depths of the ruins of the universe. If he did not kill Lu Ming and avenge Yiling Tianshou, he would not be satisfied. However, he had already deviated from Lu Ming's direction. One after another, Lu Ming absorbed and refined the great desolate crystals. In a spurt of energy, Lu Ming refined more than 3,000 desolate crystals. His cultivation finally made another breakthrough, reaching the 3rd level of the Divine Master Realm. I've finally reached the 3rd level of the Divine Master Realm. As expected, I'm much stronger than the 2nd level of the Divine Master Realm. However, the amount of desolation crystals I've consumed is also terrifying. Lu Ming sighed. Lu Ming had used up close to 4,000 primal crystals from the moment he broke through to the 3rd layer of the Divine Master Realm. Luckily, Lu Ming had obtained a huge amount of desolate crystals from the Mountain of Ancestors. Without the fortunate encounter, it would be extremely difficult to gather 4,000 desolate crystals. Reaching the 3rd level of the Divine Master Realm required close to 4,000 desolate crystals. In that case, the amount of desolate crystals required to break through from the 3rd level of the Divine Master Realm to the 4th level of the Divine Master Realm would be even more ridiculous. It might even be above 40,000. According to this pattern, the desolate crystals in Lu Ming's possession would allow Lu Ming to break through to the 4th level of the Divine Master Realm at most. Let's not worry about that for now. I'll think about it after I break through to the 4th level of the Divine Master Realm. Lu Ming decided to raise his cultivation to the point where it could not be raised any further before heading to the depths of the universe ruins. Sharpening the axe would not delay the work of cutting wood. Only with a higher cultivation could he obtain more fortuitous encounters. Lu Ming continued to refine the desolate crystals, but this time, Lu Ming stopped after a short while. He sensed something strange about the human king's arm. With a wave of his hand, the bronze box appeared. He opened the box, and the human king's arm flew out. It was radiating a dazzling light and constantly trembling. Moreover, the arm pointed in a direction. That is, Lu Ming was shocked. Could it be that the other parts of the human king's body are about to appear? At this moment, a line of words appeared on the box. The other parts of the human king's body? Lu Ming was shocked. This is just my speculation, but it is very likely so. The human king's arm has sensed the other parts of the human king's body. Kid, hurry up and head in that direction. Your fortuitous encounter has arrived, the box said. Your fortuitous encounter. Can I cultivate first before going? Lu Ming muttered. He still wanted to raise his cultivation before leaving. You cannot miss this opportunity. If you are late, it will be hard to say. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Your fortuitous encounter is very good. You discovered the other parts of the human king's body so quickly. You cannot miss it, the bronze box said. All right then. Lu Ming nodded. He also did not want to miss out on the human king's body. Once he obtained it, he could roam the world and suppress the heavenly palace. This made him very tempted. Swish. Lu Ming soared into the air and headed in the direction the human king's arm was pointing. The palm of the human king's arm was always pointing in one direction. With the guidance of the human king's arm, Lu Ming would not go wrong. However, that place seemed to be very far away from Lu Ming. Lu Ming flew continuously for a month but still did not reach his destination. I am about to enter the 1,000-year battlefield. Lu Ming carefully looked at the map. After a month of flying and judging from a series of reference points, Lu Ming finally knew where he was. He was getting deeper and deeper into the universe ruins. Moreover, he looked at the map and discovered that he would soon reach an important place in the universe ruins, the 1,000-year battlefield. The 1,000-year battlefield was already in the depths of the universe ruins. Moreover, this was a place that the Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace would fight for. Here, both sides had invested a large number of experts to fight for control of this place. This was because this was an important battlefield in the previous era. In the previous era, the primeval continent was destroyed. This was definitely a place of decisive battle. Therefore, it also contained countless fortuitous encounters. Someone had obtained a complete source-grade divine weapon here. They had also obtained top-notch chi refinement techniques and treasures that contained origin marks. They had even obtained treasures that were even more precious than those above. Therefore, the Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace had invested a large number of experts to fight for this place. They had been fighting for resources all year round. Both sides had been confronting each other here for more than 10 stellar years. There was no doubt that the 1,000-year battlefield was very dangerous. Previously, Fei Huang had not allowed Lu Ming to come here. Could it be that the other parts of the human king's body are in the swing battlefield? I hope not. Perhaps it's just passing by. Lu Ming muttered, but he was muttering in his heart. If it was really in the 1,000-year battlefield, it would be troublesome. Both sides had invested a large number of experts in the 1,000-year battlefield. There were even many Origin Realm experts. As for Divine Master Realm experts, there were even more. If it was really here, with his cultivation, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to obtain the human king's body. Lu Ming secretly prayed, hoping that it was just passing by. However, when Lu Ming approached the 1,000-year battlefield, the reaction of the human king's arms suddenly disappeared. It returned to calmness and lay quietly in the bronze box. Chapter 4605. What's going on? Why isn't the human king's arm reacting? Lu Ming was a little dumbfounded. He stared at the bronze chest, waiting for an answer. Perhaps the human king's arm is not far ahead, on the 1,000 Autumn battlefield you spoke of. Perhaps something happened that caused the human king's arm to temporarily lose its senses. The bronze chest said, "Can't you give me a clear answer?" Lu Ming was a little speechless. "Please, I'm just a chest." The chest replied. Lu Ming was speechless. "It looks like I can only stay in the 1,000 Autumn battlefield for a while. The other parts of the human king's body can't really be in the 1,000 Autumn battlefield, right?" Lu Ming felt a headache coming on. He still hoped that it was in some other place. However, the human king's arm had lost its senses here. He could not be sure, so he could only stay here for now. Putting away the human king's arm, Lu Ming took out a map and began to carefully examine it. According to the information he had obtained, the 1,000 Autumn battlefield was extremely vast. It was countless times larger than the Heavenly Star continent from before. The The core of the Thousand Autumn battlefield was an extremely large continent. There were a few small fragments of continents scattered around this continent. The Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace each occupied a portion of the continent. They were searching for resources while constantly fighting. What gave Lu Ming a headache was that he did not know which side the Heaven Destroyer occupied. The map only indicated that this was the Thousand Autumn battlefield. As for the regions occupied by the Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace, they were not marked at all. If he rashly advanced and plunged into the region occupied by the Heavenly Palace, he would be finished. Moreover, there were Origin Realm experts present. Even if he used the Great Imitation Art, it would be seen through. Let's slowly approach and observe from afar. Lu Ming withdrew his aura and used the Great Imitation Art to conceal his own aura. He turned it into the aura of another Flame Race clansman before slowly flying forward. Before long, a few scattered continents appeared before Lu Ming's eyes. These continents were very small and barren, without any signs of life. Lu Ming even felt a terrifying killing intent and baleful aura from it. Killing intent and infernal energy mixed together, piercing through the void. Even though they were far apart, Lu Ming felt his scalp tingle and his skin prickle with pain. What terrifying killing intent and baleful aura! Is this the battlefield left behind from the last epoch's war? Even after so many years, it's still so terrifying. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The previous era was too far away from the present. No one knew how many years had passed. After so many years, there was still such a terrifying killing intent and baleful aura left behind. It was hard to imagine what kind of experts had participated in the previous era. However, there were no people from the Heaven Destroyer or the Heavenly Palace on these small barren continents. Lu Ming continued forward. That is, suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes widened. There was a continent in front of him, but what shocked Lu Ming was that it wasn't this continent, but a weapon that pierced through this continent. It was a huge spear that pierced through the center of this continent and came out from the other side. He could see that this spear had already decayed. There were many dents and holes on it, and it didn't have any spirituality. There was a figure sitting cross-legged on top of the spear. Not good, it's the angel race. Lu Ming's pupils shrank. The figure sitting on top of the spear was covered in a layer of holy light. This was clearly the angel race. Lu Ming definitely wouldn't be mistaken. At this time, that angel race expert also saw Lu Ming. Human race? He's not from our side. Capture him. The angel race expert coldly shouted, and 12 wings suddenly appeared on his back. With a flap of his wings, he turned into a white light and charged at Lu Ming with astonishing speed. This was a 12-winged angel. In the angel race, this was the highest level of talent. The angel race expert was extremely fast. He instantly approached Lu Ming and slashed his resplendent angel war sword at Lu Ming's forehead. BZZ. Lu Ming retreated rapidly. At the same time, he took out his battle god spear and swept it across the angelic combat sword. Clang. There was a loud roar and Lu Ming's figure retreated like a meteorite. He spat out a mouthful of blood. 7th level God Lord. Lu Ming's expression was grave. His opponent was a 7th level God Lord, and more importantly, a 12-winged angel. He was extremely powerful. This person was no weaker than Yi Ling Tianshou. Although Lu Ming had broken through to 3rd level God Lord, he was still no match for this person. A mere 3rd level God Lord was able to block one of my attacks. The expert from the angel race was also astonished. Although he hadn't used his full strength in that attack, it still wasn't something a 3rd level God Lord could block. This man was a monstrous genius. Kill. The angel race expert roared. Sacred light soared into the sky as he erupted with all his strength. 12 angel war swords appeared in the sky, transforming into tens of thousands of sword lights that slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression was grave as he retreated, dodging the attacks of these sword lights. But there were too many sword lights, and it was difficult to dodge them all. Some sword lights could only be blocked head-on. But this opponent was too strong. He wasn't someone Lu Ming could deal with. After blocking a few sword lights, Lu Ming's body was covered in wounds, worsening his injuries. I can't stay here. I have to leave as quickly as possible. Various thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. This person was no weaker than Yi Ling Tianshou. Even if he used his origin energy, he wouldn't be a match for him in a head-on clash. Unless he used the Mortal King arm. But Lu Ming cut off this thought the moment it appeared. Where was this place? It was clear that this was the region of the Heavenly Palace's fighting forces. If he used the Mortal King arm, Lu Ming was 1000% confident that he could kill this person with a single punch. But if he used the Mortal King arm, his own strength would be drained dry. If another Heavenly Palace expert came, he would be finished. The best thing to do now was to retreat as quickly as possible and throw this person off his tail. But the angel race relied on their angel wings to move very quickly. Lu Ming wanted to throw off his opponent, but he couldn't do it for the time being. If this continued, not only would he not be able to throw off his opponent, the slightest lapse in concentration would result in his death. Lu Ming, let me help. Qiu called out. Wait a little longer. Lu Ming said. Qiu's target was rather obvious. Many people knew that Lu Ming had a metallic life form like Qiu. Once Qiu took action, his opponent would easily guess his identity. His opponent clearly hadn't guessed his identity. Die! The angel race expert roared. Thousands of sword lights converged into 3 terrifying sword lights, slashing at Lu Ming's 3 vital points. At this moment, 3 lotus flowers suddenly appeared in the void. The 3 white lotuses spun rapidly and blocked the 3 sword lights from the angels. Who is it? The angel race expert shouted as he looked in a direction. In that direction, a beautiful woman stepped on the air. Xian Yinjuan. Chapter 4606. The newcomer was actually Xian Yinjuan. Lu Ming revealed a look of pleasant surprise. Speaking of which, he hadn't seen Xian Yinjuan for many years. Ever since Xian Yinjuan and Xian Yanqing had left together, he hadn't seen Xian Yinjuan again. Even when he was in Zenith's Supreme Immortal City, Xian Yinjuan hadn't appeared. Later on, he had asked Xian Yanqing about Xian Yinjuan, and Xian Yanqing had said that Xian Yinjuan had been bitterly cultivating in the depths of the universe's ruins. He hadn't expected to meet her here in the 1000-year battlefield. It's you? You want to stop me with just you? I'm afraid that's not enough. The angel expert said. How would you know if you don't try? Xian Yinjuan said coldly, her body shrouded in a holy light. It looked a little like the holy light of the angels. However, Xian Yanqing's power wasn't the holy light of the angels. Instead, it was a higher-level power, as holy as an immortal's. She stepped on the void, and with every step, a lotus flower condensed. Finally, it turned into thousands of white lotus flowers that flew toward the angel expert. Break for me! The angel expert shouted and slashed out with his angelic battle sword. Tens of thousands of sword chi burst forth and collided with the white lotuses. The white lotuses were split into 2 halves. Xian Yinjuan isn't her match. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Xian Yinjuan's cultivation was very strong. She had reached the 4th level of the Divine Lord realm. As expected of someone who had been bitterly cultivating in the depths of the universe's ruins. Coupled with the fusion of her memories from 2 lifetimes, her cultivation speed was truly astonishing. Lu Ming had a fortuitous encounter and was only at the 3rd level of the Divine Lord realm, but Xian Yinjuan had already reached the 4th level. However, there was a difference of 3 levels between a 4th level Divine Lord realm and an angel expert. Although Xian Yinjuan was incomparably monstrous, she wasn't her match. The 2 exchanged a few blows, and Xian Yinjuan kept retreating. Take both of you down. The angel race's powerhouse shouted loudly. His battle sword swept out and slashed toward Xian Yinjuan unceasingly. Flying immortal sword. Xian Yinjuan shouted. Tens of thousands of lotus flowers formed a river of swords. It was like a flying immortal. It came from the void. With a bang, the angel's sword was sent flying. This is a good chance. Qiu, do it. Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. He unleashed the heaven-breaking technique. He became one with his spear, and transformed into a dazzling spear light that pierced toward the angel expert. Meanwhile, Qiuqiu turned into a mirror and shot out a beam of light that enveloped the angel powerhouse. The angel powerhouse's eyes went blank for a moment. That was enough. Lu Ming was like a bolt of lightning, his spear light piercing through the angel race expert's forehead. Roar! At this critical moment, the angel powerhouse seemed to have sensed danger. He let out a loud roar, and a violent energy surged out like a tidal wave. Buzz! The powerful energy collided with the war god's spear, causing it to vibrate continuously. Its forward momentum was forcefully stopped. Origin! With a thought, Lu Ming circulated his origin energy and rushed into the war god's spear. It erupted, triggering the power of the war god's spear. Instantly, the power of the war god's spear increased greatly. It broke through the angel powerhouse's power and continued to pierce forward. How is this possible? The angel powerhouse roared. He was incomparably shocked. Although he was affected by the beam of light just now and his mind went blank for a moment, he naturally couldn't unleash his full power in a hasty attack. However, it should be more than enough to block or even send Lu Ming flying. He didn't expect Lu Ming's attack to suddenly increase. At this critical moment, the angel powerhouse could only use his angel wings to block in front of him. Poof! The war god's spear pierced through 2 angel wings in succession. Feathers flew everywhere and blood flowed out. However, the angel powerhouse also used this opportunity to block Lu Ming's attack. However, Lu Ming wasn't the only one present. Xian Yanjuan was also present. How could Xian Yanjuan miss this opportunity? Flying immortal sword! A delicate shout rang out. A sword light pierced towards the angel powerhouse like a flying immortal. In the next moment, the angel powerhouse was sent flying. One of his wings was forcefully chopped off. Feathers flew everywhere, and blood splattered everywhere. Not only that, but a deep wound had also appeared on that man's chest. It had nearly split his body in half. He spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. His face was pale, but his eyes were filled with resentment and killing intent. You guys, just you wait. The angel powerhouse roared angrily and quickly fled. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. Xian Yanjuan and Lu Ming didn't chase after him. Since Xian Yanjuan didn't chase after him, Lu Ming naturally wouldn't chase after him. He wasn't familiar with this place and didn't want to chase into the heavenly palace's nest. Xian Yanjuan, I trust you've been well since we last met. Lu Ming smiled. His appearance and aura began to change, turning into Lu Ming's original appearance and aura. It's really you. Xian Yanjuan wasn't surprised to see Lu Ming. With her intelligence, she could guess a thing or two from the previous fight. Remember, my name is Tang Jun, not Xian Yanjuan. Xian Yanjuan, no, Tang Jun, added another sentence. Lu Ming touched his nose speechlessly. Sure enough, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan's states were completely different. Although the two of them had merged the memories of 2 lifetimes, the way they did it was completely different. Xian Yanjuan's memories of his previous life took the initiative and devoured the memories of his current life. Therefore, Xian Yanjuan's essence was that of his previous life. Tang Jun Xian Yanqing's memories of his current life took the initiative and devoured the memories of his previous life. Therefore, Xian Yanqing was still that of his current life, Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming, why did you come to the 1,000-year battlefield alone? Tang Jun asked. I was adventuring in the ruins of the universe and accidentally came here. Lu Ming said. Tang Jun didn't delve into it. He nodded and said, let's leave this place first. This is the border between our territory and the Heavenly Palace's territory. I'm afraid they'll send experts here. After saying that, Tang Jun turned around and left. Lu Ming followed. Lu Ming, you're lucky. You only came to the border between the 2 sides. If you plunged into the Heavenly Palace's territory, I can only mourn for you. Tang Jun said, I still have to thank you for your help. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to escape. Lu Ming smiled and flattered him. He had just arrived at the 1,000-year battlefield and still had many things to learn. Naturally, he had to rely on Tang Jun. Soon, the 2 of them arrived on a continent. On the way, Lu Ming also asked some questions and learned some things. The Heavenly Extermination Army and the Heavenly Palace each occupied a territory, and this area was the border between the two territories. Both sides had sent experts to guard and patrol this area. Lu Ming just happened to walk to the area near the Heavenly Palace and ran into the angel race expert. Fortunately, Tang Jun was also patrolling around. When he heard the commotion, he rushed over and saved Lu Ming. The 1,000-year battlefield is mainly dominated by the main continent. It's vast and boundless. Around the main continent, there are many small continent fragments. Experts are sent to patrol these small continent fragments. The main reason is to prevent the enemy's experts from launching a sneak attack. Once they discover the enemy's experts launching a sneak attack, they can spread the news and let everyone prepare for defense, Tang Jun explained. Chapter 4607. Tang Jun, can you tell me the exact situation of the swing battlefield? Lu Ming asked. If you want to know the exact situation of the swing battlefield, look at the map first. With that, Tang Jun took out a jade talisman. The jade talisman glowed and a map appeared in the air. At the center of the map was an extremely huge continent. Lu Ming knew that this should be the main continent of the 1,000 Autumn battlefield. Many smaller fragments of the continent hovered around the continent. Our Heaven Destroyer occupies a small portion of the southern region, while the Heavenly Palace occupies the northern region. Do you see those white and red dots? Tang Jun asked. Lu Ming nodded. Sure enough, there were a few white and red dots scattered across the swing battlefield. The ones in the south were red dots, while the ones in the north were white dots. These red dots were connected by red lines, while the white dots were also connected by white lines. These dots are the strongholds and forts occupied by the two sides. The geography of the main continent of the 1,000 Autumn battlefield is extremely complicated. Most of the territories are extremely dangerous. Those pitch-black and blurry territories are the dangerous territories. Tang Jun said. So many dangerous territories. Lu Ming was surprised. This was because he discovered that most of the main continent was pitch-black, separated by red and white lines. That's right. The 1,000 Autumn battlefield, as its name implies, is an ancient battlefield. It was a terrifying battlefield from the last epoch. Who knows how many experts have died here, and who knows how powerful they were. In short, even after countless years, this battlefield is still filled with terrifying killing intent and a terrifying baleful aura. That's not all. The 1,000 Autumn battlefield has also nurtured many insects. Many of these insects are extremely terrifying. In particular, these insects will become extremely berserk in the baleful aura and killing intent. Their battle prowess will skyrocket as well. Even reciprocity experts will face the danger of dying if they enter these places. As a result, these places are forbidden grounds. Of course, there will be places where the baleful aura and killing intent will be weaker in these dangerous regions. These places are much safer. The white and red lines you see are the places where the baleful aura and killing intent are weaker. Like that, they form a relatively safe passage. The white and red dots are the safest places. They're often sandwiched between several dangerous regions. As a result, these safe regions have become important locations. They're crucial points for the two sides to fight over. Tang Jun explained in detail. I see. Lu Ming nodded. He understood that these important locations were like the fortresses of mortal kingdoms. For example, in mortal kingdoms, there would be a passage in the mountains. A city would be built in the passage, and that city would be a fortress. This was because it was impossible to pass through the mountains. The only way to pass through the fortress was through it. Once the fortress was blocked, even an army of thousands would not be able to pass through. The white and red dots here were equivalent to fortresses. The more fortresses one occupied, the larger the territory one occupied. The white and red lines were the passageways. Lu Ming observed carefully and discovered that the Heavenly Palace occupied slightly more territory than the Heaven Destroyer because there were more white dots. These dangerous regions may seem dangerous, but they contain endless fortuitous encounters. The main fortuitous encounters of the 1,000 Autumn battlefield are in these dangerous regions. Tang Jun said. Since these regions are so dangerous, where even reciprocity experts face the danger of dying, how are we supposed to find the fortuitous encounters? Lu Ming asked. That's the crux of the matter. These regions are filled with terrifying killing intent and baleful qi, but these killing intent and baleful qi do not always exist. Every once in a while, the killing intent and baleful qi in a certain region will recede, and after a while, they will reappear. As long as the killing intent and baleful qi recede, the insects will not be as violent and terrifying. At that time, we can enter these regions to explore. Over the years, we have obtained a large amount of cultivation resources and treasures from these regions. However, the time at which the killing intent and baleful qi recede is different in each region. How long it recede is different as well. That will depend on the specifics. Tang Jun explained. Lu Ming finally understood why the Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace occupied those fortresses. The more territory they occupied, the more resources they would obtain. As long as they occupied a territory, they could slowly wait for the killing intent and baleful qi to recede. Then, they could send people in to explore and obtain the resources within. For example, desolate crystals were materials for forging source-grade divine weapons. They could even be complete source-grade divine weapons or treasures that contained origin imprints. These resources, no matter to which side, were crucial strategic resources. The more resources they obtained, the more experts they could produce. According to Lu Ming's knowledge, the Thousand Autumn battlefield was definitely an extremely important place in the last epoch. Otherwise, there would not have been such an intense battle. This region was most likely a blessed land in the desolate continent of the last epoch. Many experts had established their cave abodes in this region. As a result, any region of the Thousand Autumn battlefield could contain the cave of an expert from the last epoch. There would be great fortuitous encounters there. Over the years, the treasures that both sides had obtained from the Thousand Autumn battlefield had reached an astonishing level. As a result, both sides had invested more and more experts in this place. Those fortresses are places that both sides must fight for. Occupying one more fortress is equivalent to occupying a wider area of land. Therefore, both sides have deployed many experts to guard these fortresses. Fierce battles break out over these fortresses all year round. Of course, those who can guard these fortresses and participate in these battles are all existences at the Divine Master level or above. Tang Jun explained. It seems that whether it's the Heaven Destroyer or the Heavenly Palace, the true number of experts is far beyond my imagination. Lu Ming sighed. Back when the Taishang Immortal City appeared, both the Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace had mobilized a large number of Divine Masters. Those Divine Masters were most likely only a portion of both sides. This was because both sides had a large number of experts fighting and confronting each other in the ruins of the universe. For example, the experts in the Thousand Autumn battlefield could not leave at all. Once one side withdrew a large number of experts, the other side would take the opportunity to counterattack and occupy a large territory. For existences above the Divine Master realm, the Thousand Autumn battlefield was more important than the Taishang Immortal City. Losing the Thousand Autumn battlefield was a greater loss. And in the ruins of the universe, there was more than one place like the Thousand Autumn battlefield. Therefore, Lu Ming had no idea how strong the Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace were. After all, the Heavenly Palace still had the Dark Universe to guard. Chapter 4608. And then there are the fragments around the main continent. In order to gain territory, both sides will send people to attack the fragments from time to time. As a result, whether it's the forts or the fragments around the main continent, there are experts guarding them. I watch over this fragment. I take turns, and each person watches over it for 100 years. You've come at the right time. In another 3 days, I'll have watched over it for 100 years. At that time, I'll be able to return to the main continent and take you there. Tang Jun said. Lu Ming nodded, but his gaze was fixed on the center of the main continent. There was a region in the center of the main continent. It was pitch black and blurry, and it occupied an extremely large area. It was almost half the size of the main continent. Moreover, there was not a single white or red line in such a large region, nor was there a single white or red dot. Instead, there were a few white or red dots in the surroundings of the region. This region is the core battlefield of the main continent. It's extremely dangerous and terrifying. It's filled with shocking killing intent and baleful aura all year round, and it nurtures many terrifying venomous insects. When the killing intent and baleful aura surges, even reciprocity experts will die if they enter. In the past, a reciprocity expert from the Heavenly Palace was bitten to death by a mosquito in the core battlefield. Tang Jun said. Lu Ming gasped. So the reciprocity expert bitten to death by a mosquito that Fei Huang spoke of happened in the 1,000-year battlefield. Of course, danger comes with opportunity. This core battlefield was the center of the battle of the last epoch, so it contains the most opportunities. There are source-grade weapons, treasures with origin imprints, peak chi cultivation techniques, and even treasures of a higher level than source-grade weapons. Even origin realm experts would fight for these treasures with their lives on the line. Every once in a while, the killing intent and baleful aura in the core battlefield will recede. At that time, a large number of experts from the two great organizations will enter to explore. Tang Jun explained. Lu Ming was also interested. If he came across a few fortuitous encounters in a place like this, he would benefit endlessly. It would be normal for his cultivation to skyrocket. Lu Ming settled down there afterwards. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. 3 days later, an old man arrived. This old man had a dense aura. He was a 7th-level divine master. The most peculiar thing was that this old man looked similar to a human, but he had 2 heads. One head had pitch-black skin and pitch-black hair, while the other head had snow-white skin and snow-white hair. What race is this? Lu Ming muttered in his heart. He had never seen or heard of such a race before. Senior Tanyue. Tang Jun cupped his fists at the old man. Don't call me senior. I should be the one calling you senior. The 2 heads of the old man named Tianyu shook repeatedly. He knew that Tang Jun was the daughter of the taboo sword ancestor. In terms of seniority and age, she was higher than him. 800 years have passed. Leave this continent to this old man. Miss Tang Jun can return to the main continent now. Tianyu said. It was obvious that Tianyu was here to take over the shift. Although Tianyu curiously sized up Lu Ming a few times, she did not ask much. Then I'll leave it to you. Tang Jun cupped her fists, and then she left this continent with Lu Ming and flew toward the main continent. Are you very curious as to what race Tianyu is from? Tang Jun suddenly asked on the way. One had to admit that this woman was abnormally intelligent. She could tell what Lu Ming was thinking at a glance. Yes, I'm very curious. I've never heard of such an appearance. Lu Ming said. It's normal that you haven't heard of it. She's from the Heaven and Earth race. In the distant past, the Heaven and Earth race was renowned throughout the primitive universe. They were ranked in the top 10 of the primitive 10,000 races roll. Tang Jun said. The top 10 races. Lu Ming was somewhat shocked. Yes, the top 10 races. At their peak, the Heaven and Earth race was extremely powerful. They were even stronger than the current Angels and Blood race. However, in the end, the Heavenly Palace suspected that the Heaven and Earth race had colluded with the Life Spirit Heavenly Court at that time. They sent experts to destroy the Heaven and Earth race in one fell swoop. The prosperous Heaven and Earth race was destroyed. Only a few of them survived. They hid in the dark, waiting for an opportunity to take revenge. Tang Jun explained. They were destroyed by the Heavenly Palace again. There was a cold light in Lu Ming's eyes. He thought of the Heavenly Palace's Heavenly Heart race. At their peak, they were also one of the top 10 races of that era, but they were also destroyed by the Heavenly Palace. Throughout the long history of the primitive universe, there were many powerful races that were ranked in the top 10, but many of them were destroyed by the Heavenly Palace in the end. Those who were lucky enough to survive hated the Heavenly Palace and wanted to take revenge, so they joined the Heaven Destroyer in the end. Otherwise, how could the Heaven Destroyer really fight against the Heavenly Palace? The birth of the Heaven Destroyer was also caused by the unrighteousness of the Heavenly Palace. Tang Jun said. Lu Ming nodded. He had always suspected that the Heaven Destroyer was created by the Forbidden Sword ancestor Tang Feng and Fei Huang. It had only been a few dozen stellar years. How could it have the strength to fight against the Heavenly Palace? Now, he finally understood. Over the long years, the Heavenly Palace had made too many enemies for itself. There were many of the top 10 races that had been destroyed in history. These races were very talented, and after many years of dormancy and development, their strength could not be underestimated. These races had all joined the Heaven Exterminating Army. In addition to the primitive Divine Spirit and the descendants of the primitive Divine Spirit, as well as the top elites like Tang Feng and Fei Huang, their strength was already very shocking and terrifying. That was why they could fight against the Heavenly Palace for such a long time. You can also see other top 10 races in the 1,000-year battlefield. Tang Jun smiled. Soon, they arrived at a stronghold on the main continent. On the main continent, flying was not allowed. They had to pass through the strongholds and move along the areas where killing intent and evil spirits were weak. If they accidentally entered those areas that were full of killing intent and evil spirits, it would be very dangerous. From this stronghold, they passed through several other strongholds and finally arrived at a huge city. This huge city was very ancient. It was said to have been left behind from the last epoch. The walls were made of special rocks and were extremely tough. Even Origin Realm experts would need to put in a lot of effort to break through them. This place had become the most important stronghold of the Heaven Destroyer in the 1,000-year battlefield. Many experts had gathered here. Once a stronghold was attacked by the Heavenly Palace, this place could immediately send out reinforcements. So many experts. As soon as he arrived at this ancient city, Lu Ming felt a great pressure. This was because he could feel that there were terrifying auras everywhere in this ancient city. These auras came from various experts. Most of them were at the Almighty Realm. Lu Ming sensed carefully. There were hundreds of Almighty Realm auras. Some of these auras were extremely terrifying. They were no weaker than the Lord of Heaven of the Heavenly Palace. However, he did not sense any Origin Realm auras. This was natural. Origin Realm experts had to hide their auras, so Lu Ming could not sense them. Chapter 4609. Lu Ming, come with me. I'll introduce you to someone. Tang Jun led Lu Ming in a certain direction. Lu Ming was a little curious. Who was it that Tang Jun wanted to introduce him to? Soon, they arrived at a courtyard. The courtyard wasn't big. There was a man inside with his back facing them. He was fishing by a small pond. You're here. The man obviously sensed Lu Ming and Tang Jun. He got up and turned around. Taboo Sword Ancestor. Lu Ming's pupils shrank when he saw the man. He couldn't help but exclaim. Taboo Sword Ancestor Tang Feng was a legendary figure in Heaven Destroyer. Although most people hadn't seen him in person, they had seen his portrait and statue. Lu Ming had also seen him. This man looked almost exactly like Taboo Sword Ancestor Tang Feng. That was why Lu Ming exclaimed. Could it be that Taboo Sword Ancestor Tang Feng was in this 1,000-year battlefield? No, they're different. There are some differences in their facial features. Slowly, Lu Ming calmed down. He found that although the young man in front of him looked very similar to Taboo Sword Ancestor Tang Feng, there were still some subtle differences. If it was an ordinary person, it wouldn't be easy for them to notice. However, for a cultivator like Lu Ming, any subtle differences couldn't escape their eyes. He's not my father. His name is Tang Xiao. He's my brother. Tang Jun transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming suddenly realized that this man was the son of Taboo Sword Ancestor. He was also the brother of Tang Jun and Xian Yanqing. You're Lu Ming? Tang Xiao's eyes were like two stars. He stared at Lu Ming as if he wanted to see through Lu Ming. Yes. Lu Ming clasped his hands in greeting. He wanted to say something courteous, but didn't know where to begin. Tang Xiao's face was dark, and he looked like he was in a bad mood. He forced himself to swallow the words he was about to say. Forbidden Body. Your talent is not bad. You are worthy of Shaoqing. It's just that your cultivation is too low. You have to raise your cultivation as soon as possible. Tang Xiao said. When he spoke, his face was still gloomy and there was no trace of a smile. Yes. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said. After all, this was a senior who had lived for dozens of stellar years and was Xian Yanqing's brother. Even if his attitude was unpleasant, Lu Ming could only pretend that he did not see it. Moreover, Tang Xiao gave Lu Ming an unfathomable feeling. It was as though he was a bottomless pit. Lu Ming knew that Tang Xiao was probably at reciprocity. Lu Ming could not help but prostrate himself in admiration towards the taboo sword ancestor Tang Feng. Needless to say, Tang Feng's own cultivation base naturally didn't need to be said. He didn't even know what step he had reached. And some of his juniors were also excessively strong. Lu Ming now knew that Tang Feng had 3 disciples. The first was Tianjian, the second was Shenjian, and the third was Demon Jian. They were all at reciprocity. Now, Tang Feng's son, Tang Xiao, was also at reciprocity. As for Xian Yanqing and Tang Jun's previous lives, they were also at reciprocity. The 6 juniors were all at reciprocity. This level of teaching made Lu Ming blush with shame. Thinking of his disciples, Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Second sister, take Lu Ming to familiarize himself with the terrain and find a place for him to stay. I still have things to do. Tang Xiao said to Tang Jun and returned to the pond to fish by himself. Lu Ming, let's go. Tang Jun winked at Lu Ming and the two left. Lu Ming, do you think that Tang Xiao is very difficult to get along with? On the way, Tang Jun suddenly asked. A little. Lu Ming stammered. After all, the other party was Xian Yanqing's brother. It was indeed difficult for him to speak, especially when he spoke ill of him behind his back. Actually, he's cold on the outside but warm on the inside. He's a very nice person. And he wasn't like this in the past. He used to be just like his name, very fond of smiling. Xiao Qing, third Demon Jian, and I love to play with him and go on adventures with him, Tang Jun said and sighed slightly. Then why now? Lu Ming was puzzled. It's because his mother was killed by the heavenly human race. That's why his temperament changed drastically. From then on, he didn't smile anymore. He only wanted to flatten the heavenly palace and get rid of the heavenly human race. Tang Jun said, Isn't his mother your and Xiao Qing's mother? Lu Ming asked in surprise. No, little Qing and I share the same father and mother. However, Tang Xiao and I share the same father but different mothers. My father had 2 wives in his lifetime, Gu Qinyue and Yi Exin. Tang Xiao's mother is Gu Qinyue, whereas little Qing and I share the same mother, Yi Exin. Back then, my father fought his way out of the small world. Later, my mother and the others also came out of the small world to gain experience. Later, my father embarked on the path to fight against the heavenly palace. However, the process was extremely difficult. During that time, he was besieged by the heavenly palace many times. The price was also heavy. My mother, Tang Xiao's mother, was killed by the heavenly human race. Xiao Qing's and my mother's were also seriously injured. For so many years, my father put us somewhere to recuperate and never came out of seclusion. Tang Jun explained with deep sorrow in his eyes. Lu Ming also found it difficult to calm down. It was hard to imagine what forbidden sword ancestor Tang Feng had experienced after coming out of the small world. The process was definitely extremely difficult. At the same time, Lu Ming was glad that his family was fine during his adventure. In fact, Lu Ming was lucky to be born in a good era. At least in this era, Tang Feng, Fei Huang and the others had become top experts and could protect him. However, in the era when Tang Feng and Fei Huang grew up, there were no top experts to protect them. In that era, the heavenly court had already been destroyed. The archaic divine court had also been destroyed. The primordial divine spirits and other powerful races that fought against the heavenly palace also retreated. The heavenly palace was the only one in the universe. It was too difficult to make it out of that era. Even forbidden sword ancestor Tang Feng couldn't protect his wife. One died and the other was seriously injured. His mother's death was a huge blow to Tang Xiao. Ever since then, he's never smiled again. Father, on the other hand, is determined to break through to the highest level possible, and bring his mother back from the river of reincarnation. Tang Jun said, "Can a dead person be revived?" Lu Ming was bewildered. "My father once said that it can be done as long as one's cultivation reaches a very high level. However, it's almost impossible to reach that level. It's too difficult." Tang Jun sighed. Lu Ming also sighed in his heart. Forbidden Sword ancestor Tang Feng was a hero of a generation and a glorious era. However, behind this glory, who knew how many sad past events were buried? Not long after, the two came to another courtyard. "I used to live here. You can stay here with me for the time being," Tang Jun said. "No problem." Lu Ming nodded. Chapter 46:10. You can stay here for now. If there's a region where the killing intent and fiendish qi dissipates, I'll call you over to try your luck, Tang Jun said. The two exchanged a few more words before returning to their rooms. After returning to his room, Lu Ming found it hard to calm down. Even an outstanding genius like the taboo sword ancestor, Tang Feng, had suffered such an enormous blow in the process of his growth. He was unable to even protect his own wife. As for Xiao Chen, with his current strength, he was still far from being able to stand alone against the heavenly palace. Would he also experience the same thing in the process? No, I won't allow myself to repeat the taboo sword ancestor's mistakes. I must grasp great strength as quickly as possible. Also, the human king body is a shortcut. Once I grasp it, I can flatten the heavenly palace and protect my family. I can't miss this opportunity. Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. After a while, Lu Ming gradually calmed down. Then he took out the great desolate crystals and began to refine them. He still had around 117,000 great desolate crystals on him, enough for him to break through to the fourth layer of the Divine Lord realm. Lu Ming refined one great desolate crystal after another, and Lu Ming's cultivation rapidly rose. The forbidden energy in his body also grew stronger and stronger. It had to be said that condensing the origin seed in advance was a good thing. With a clear direction, he wouldn't get lost. He didn't need to spend time comprehending his realm or searching for a direction. As long as he had energy, his cultivation could continue to rise. In around 10 days, Lu Ming had refined around 50,000 great desolate crystals. His cultivation finally broke through to the fourth layer of the Divine Lord realm. From the early third layer of the Divine Lord realm to the early fourth layer of the Divine Lord realm, he had spent a total of 50,000 great desolate crystals. This number was absolutely astonishing. At the same time, Lu Ming smiled bitterly to himself. Wouldn't breaking through from the fourth layer of the Divine Lord realm to the fifth layer of the Divine Lord realm require more than 500,000 great desolate crystals? Lu Ming felt a headache coming on. 500,000 great desolate crystals? Even if he emptied the ancestral mountain of the heavenly star continent, he still wouldn't be able to gather that much. There are still more than 60,000 desolate crystals left. Let's refine them all. At the very least, they should be able to raise my cultivation base and increase my strength, Lu Ming muttered. Then he took out the desolate crystal and continued to refine it. Several days later, Lu Ming refined another 10,000 or so primal crystals. His cultivation had completely stabilized at the fourth level of the Divine Lord realm. At this moment, he realized that Tang Jun was looking for him. Lu Ming finished his cultivation and walked out of his room. He saw Tang Jun standing in the courtyard. She was slender and elegant, with peerless beauty. If it weren't for the fact that his temperament was different from Xian Yanqing's and his clothes were completely different, he would have thought that he was Xian Yanqing. The two of them looked exactly the same. If Tang Jun becomes my wife and serves me with Xiao Qing, wouldn't that be a beautiful scene? But, Lu Ming, what are you thinking? You're really despicable and shameless. Lu Ming slapped himself in the face, dispelling the thought that flashed through his mind. Why did you slap yourself? Tang Jun looked at Lu Ming as if she was looking at an idiot. No, nothing. I was just killing a mosquito. But, damn mosquito. Lu Ming awkwardly found an excuse. Tang Jun looked at Lu Ming strangely. She naturally wouldn't believe such a lousy excuse. At their level, What kind of mosquito could get close to them without being discovered? Your cultivation base has broken through again. Tang Jun looked at Lu Ming as if she was looking at an idiot for a while. Suddenly, her eyes flashed, revealing a shocked expression. Ah yes. On my way here, I encountered a great opportunity and obtained some desolate crystals. I refined a large amount of desolate crystals to break through. Lu Ming quickly replied and secretly sighed in his heart. If Tang Jun knew what he was thinking, she would probably cut him into pieces. Kid, you're really lucky. However, the more lucky you are, the better. There's an area where the killing intent and evil aura have subsided. I plan to cooperate with you and try my luck. I hope you can bring good luck. Tang Jun said. Okay, that's exactly what I want. Lu Ming said. Since they had come to the Thousand Autumn battlefield, there was no reason for them to stay. If they stayed, how could they improve their cultivation base if they couldn't get any resources? Moreover, the other parts of the human king's body were likely to be on the Thousand Autumn battlefield. Lu Ming naturally wanted to walk around. The area we're going to is called the Forest of Ghosts. Although the evil aura and killing intent have subsided, there are still all kinds of terrifying insects. Therefore, we still need a helper. I'll take you to see someone. He will be very helpful to this trip and is also my partner in exploring the Thousand Autumn battlefield. Tang Jun said. Lu Ming followed Tang Jun and headed north. At the northern gate of the ancient city, they saw an old man. This old man had a very strange appearance. He had the body and appearance of a human, but there were two antennae on his forehead that were very similar to the antennae of an ant. Moreover, there were 6 insect claws on his back. What race is this? Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Another race that he had never seen or heard of. Lu Ming, his name is Lin Yi. He's from the myriad spirit insect race. You may not have heard of the myriad spirit insect race, but a long time ago, their name shook the primitive universe. They were one of the top 10 races of that era. Tang Jun introduced. As expected, it's another one of the top 10 races that disappeared. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Needless to say, the myriad spirit insect race was also destroyed by the Heavenly Palace, and only a few people survived. You're Lu Ming, the Forbidden Body. I didn't expect that I would be able to cooperate with the Forbidden Body. I hope to make a fortune with your luck. Lin Yi laughed and was very forthright. Senior, you're too polite. Lu Ming is new here, and I still need your guidance. Lu Ming said politely. Lu Ming, you're right about that. Lin Yi is very talented and knows the habits of all kinds of insects like the back of his hand. Moreover, he can sense the insects from far away. It's very helpful in the ghost forest. Tang Jun said. Miss Tang, don't praise me. If you continue to praise me, I'll become arrogant. Lin Yi laughed. The two sides chatted for a while and became familiar with each other. Then they headed north. The ghost forest was located in the north. They had to pass through 2 other fortresses and set off from the third one. Soon, they crossed the 2 strongholds and entered the Forest of Ghosts. In the ghost forest, there were dark ancient trees, old vines, and weeds everywhere. It was very dense. In the dense forest, there were all kinds of strange-looking insects everywhere. These insects varied in strength. Some were extremely violent, some were bloodthirsty, and some were highly poisonous. Especially in the midst of killing intent and evil spirit, they would become very terrifying. Even though the killing intent and evil spirit had subsided, Lu Ming and the others did not dare to be careless. The 3 of them restrained their aura and flew at a low altitude in the dense forest. Chapter 46:11. In the thousand-year battlefield, flying at low altitudes was the safest, while flying at high altitudes was the most dangerous. Flying at high altitudes was akin to being targeted by countless insects and attacked by countless insects. This was a lesson learned through the blood of the ancestors. Unless absolutely necessary, one should never fly at high altitudes. As they flew, Lin Ye's 2 antennae constantly trembled. Lu Ming carefully sensed that invisible ripples were constantly emanating from Lin Ye's antennae. 30,000 miles to the left, there's a swarm of poisonous insects. 60,000 miles ahead, there's a large number of thousand-blade insects. Let's avoid them. Lin Yi spoke from time to time. Then he led Lu Ming and Tang Jun, sometimes flying to the right and sometimes straight, accurately avoiding those insects each time. This made Lu Ming sigh. Bringing a member of the 10,000 spirit insect race to explore the 1,000-year battlefield was simply too comfortable. They could avoid many dangers. What Lu Ming did not know was that the 10,000 spirit insect race was very rare, and even fewer had reached the Divine Lord realm. It was not easy to find a member of the 10,000 spirit insect race to cooperate with in the 1,000-year battlefield. Every member of the 10,000 spirit insect race was highly sought after. Tang Jun was able to find Lin Yi because she was the daughter of the taboo sword ancestor and was a supreme prodigy with powerful combat strength. In less than a few hours, Lu Ming and the other two had traveled tens of millions of miles. Lu Ming, let's go to a cave first. Lin Yi and I explored that cave last time. Unfortunately, we only explored half of it before we ran out of time and hurriedly retreated. This time, let's explore the other half. There's definitely a lot of good stuff in that cave. Tang Jun said. Lu Ming nodded. In the 1,000-year battlefield, there was a rule that had to be obeyed. That was, once the baleful qi and killing intent reappeared, they had to retreat immediately. Otherwise, they would not even know how they died. However, the time that the baleful qi and killing intent retreated was not fixed. No one knew how long it would take. Perhaps a day, perhaps a year. It was hard to say. Thus, once the baleful qi and killing intent reappeared, they had to retreat immediately. Even if they encountered a cave left behind by an expert of the last epoch that had not been fully explored, they had to retreat immediately. Tang Jun and Lin Yi had found a cave left behind by an expert of the last epoch. Baleful qi and killing intent reappeared halfway. So, all these years, the two of them had been thinking about it. This time, the first thing they wanted to do was to explore the cave abode. With Lin Yi leading the way, they could avoid those insects. They were very fast. After a few more hours, they were close to the cave residence. We're here. The entrance to the cave is very well hidden. It's in the dense underbrush in front of us. Tang Jun introduced in a low voice. Lu Ming murmured in his heart. What entered his eyes was dense grass and pitch-black old vines. The area in front of him was completely covered. There was no way he could see any entrance. Let's go, Lin Yi said. Lin Ye's body rapidly shrunk. He turned into a puff of smoke and floated toward the bushes. Tang Jun and Lu Ming followed suit. They turned into a puff of smoke and floated forward. At their level, they could transform their bodies freely. It was too easy for them to turn into a puff of smoke. The smoke flew into the bushes. Not long after, Lu Ming saw a tiny gap under the ground. It was difficult to notice it without looking closely. That's the entrance to the cave. Let's go inside, Tang Jun said. The three flew into the gap and went down. They finally arrived at a spacious underground space. The three transformed into their true forms and observed their surroundings. Crap, it's dangerous. Lin Yi suddenly roared. A layer of divine light immediately appeared on the surface of his body and enveloped him. Lu Ming and Tang Jun reacted very quickly. Their spiritual senses were also extremely sharp. Before Lin Ye's voice died away, Lu Ming and Tang Jun had already sensed the danger. They subconsciously set up a layer of defense around their bodies. The next moment, ding, 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 the protective divine light around the three of them began to vibrate violently, emitting the sound of metal clashing against metal. This is an insect. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He found that it was a kind of insect that was attacking them. However, this kind of insect was too small. It was 10,000 times thinner than a strand of hair. Ordinary people couldn't see it at all. Even Lu Ming and the others had to concentrate to see it. This kind of insect was like an extremely small needle. It kept rushing toward them and stabbing at them. There were so many of them that they didn't know how many there were. Lu Ming felt that he was attacked by millions of Lu Ming in an instant. This kind of insect wasn't strong individually, but there were too many of them. Millions of them attacked Lu Ming. Although they didn't pierce through Lu Ming's defense, The huge impact still sent Lu Ming flying and crashing into the wall. Tang Jun and Lin Yi were the same. They were also sent flying and crashing into the wall. Their faces were pale. Oh no, it's the sky feeler insect. The sky feeler insect is too small and silent. I can't even sense it. This kind of insect wasn't here last time. Why are there so many of them this time? Lin Yi exclaimed. At the same time, countless sky feeler insects rushed toward the three of them. No matter what, since we've encountered them, we can only destroy them. Use fire to attack. Sky feeler insects are afraid of fire, Tang Jun said. She was surrounded by layers of energy. At the same time, white lotuses appeared and burned fiercely, turning into flaming lotuses. Bam, bam, bam. The flaming lotuses kept exploding, turning into rolling flames that spread in all directions. As for Lin Yi, he took out a fiery red lamp and blew on it. The flame in the lamp erupted like a volcano, turning into a monstrous flame that rushed forward. Great flame art, great flame explosion art. Lu Ming immediately used dozens of ancient secret arts related to fire. The raging fire engulfed millions of sky feeler insects in an instant. After being engulfed by the fire, the small bodies of the sky feeler insects kept twisting and turning into ashes in the end. A large number of sky feeler insects were burned. A moment later, all the sky feeler insects in the area were burned to ashes. The three of them let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, there aren't many sky feeler insects this time. There are only tens of millions. I heard that tens of billions of sky feeler insects attacked together in the past. Even Origin Realm experts would have to run away in the face of that. Lin Yi said with lingering fear. Tens of billions. Lu Ming gasped a breath of cold air. Chapter 46:12. A single heavenly whisker worm might not be a threat, but if tens of billions of them attacked at the same time, the massive force would probably crush Lu Ming into pieces. It seems that the cave abode has been invaded by the worms. We have to be careful from now on. Tang Jun said. Lin Yi and Lu Ming nodded. Lin Ye's two antennae started to tremble and emit invisible waves of energy. Lu Ming looked around. The place they were in was a spacious stone chamber. There were many passages in all directions of the stone chamber. At a glance, there were a total of 4 passages. Last time, we explored the 2 passages on the right. There are still 2 passages on the left that we haven't explored. Let's start from the left passage. Tang Jun said. Be careful. I feel that there are worms behind the passage, but I can't tell what kind of worms they are. Lin Yi said. No matter what, we have to make a trip. Tang Jun said. The 3 of them immediately walked toward one of the passages. The 3 of them moved forward in a triangular formation. If there was a problem, they could join forces. Soon they reached the end of the passage. At the end of the passage was a huge cave. Squeak, squeak, squeak. As soon as Lu Ming and the other 2 stepped into the cave, a huge worm pounced on Lu Ming and the other 2. A strong wind blew and the smell of blood assaulted their nostrils. A few sharp forces slashed at Lu Ming with shocking power. Lu Ming took out his war god's spear and swung it. Clang, clang, clang. A few black saber lights. No, they were not saber lights. They were the sharp claws of the worms. When they hit the war god's spear vibrated. Lu Ming's arm was slightly numb. Lu Ming had reached the 4th level of the Divine Master Realm. His strength was much stronger than before. With Lu Ming's current strength, he could even fight an expert like Yi Ling Tianshou alone. However, his arm was still numb. Such an attack was shocking. On the other side, Tang Jun and Lin Yi were also attacked. The 2 of them were even more embarrassed. Although they blocked the attack, their bodies were forced back. Tang Jun was also a 4th-layer Divine Master. Tang Jun had the memories of his previous life. Plus, he was a genius. He was even slightly stronger than Xian Yanqing in a battle of the same level. However, compared to Lu Ming, he was still a little lacking. As for Lin Yi, he was at the peak of the 6th level of the Divine Master Realm. The 10,000 Spirits insect race had been able to rank among the top 10 races in the distant past. Naturally, they were also very talented. It could be said that the previous top 10 races were more talented than the current top 10 races. This was because the current top 10 races might not even have the qualifications to enter the top 10 in the distant past. Only when the top 10 races of the past were destroyed would the lower-ranked races have the opportunity to enter the top 10. For example, the angels, the blood tribe, the demons, and the Buddhas were all ranked later. In the beginning, these races couldn't even enter the top 10. Since ancient times, only one race had been ranked among the top 10, and that was the quasi-saint race. Moreover, they had always been ranked number 1. Therefore, Lin Ye's talent was absolutely unquestionable. He was even stronger than the current top 10 races. Although his cultivation was only at the 6th level of the Divine Master realm, his combat strength was very strong. He wasn't much weaker than Tang Jun. It should be known that there were only a few people with Tang Jun's talent in the entire universe, including the celestial race. Squeak, squeak, squeak. A sharp cry rang out again. The sharp sound pierced through the void and slashed toward Lu Ming and the other two. At this time, Lu Ming finally saw what was attacking them. It was a huge insect that looked like a centipede. Its abdomen had dozens of sharp claws. The sharp claws were sharper than the edge of a blade. It wanted to tear apart Lu Ming and the others. Boom! A powerful aura erupted from Lu Ming's body. The battle character art had been activated. "Break for me!" Lu Ming shouted. The taboo power continuously poured into the battle god spear. Then he whipped it out and collided with the insect's sharp claws. Boom! Boom! A few consecutive explosions rang out. Under Lu Ming's all-out attack, the insect's sharp claws finally couldn't withstand it and exploded. The battle god's spear didn't stop. The powerful force struck the insect's body, sending it flying and crashing into the wall of the cave. The wall rumbled loudly from the impact. A large hole was blasted open on the insect's body. Green liquid constantly flowed out. What a powerful force! Is this the taboo body? Its combat strength is really amazing. Lin Yi looked at Lu Ming in shock. He was shocked by Lu Ming's strength. He had fought with the insect just now. He was very clear about the insect's strength. It was slightly stronger than him, but it was still crushed by Lu Ming. He thought that Tang Jun was already a rare monster in the universe. He thought that no one in the universe could compare to Tang Jun. He thought that even the taboo body couldn't surpass Tang Jun. But now, he realized that he was wrong. The taboo body was really terrifying. "Let's attack together." Tang Jun shouted softly. He transformed into a sword gleam and, like a flying immortal, pierced toward the wound on the worm caused by Lu Ming. Lin Yi also reacted. His 6 insect-like arms pierced through the void like 6 spears and pierced towards the insect's wound. Their attacks landed on the insect's wound. The terrifying force wreaked havoc in the insect's body, causing it to explode from the inside out. In the end, the insect was killed. In this cave, there was nothing else other than the insect. There are some metal fragments here. They were left behind by the insect. Tang Jun observed on the ground and said. Lu Ming also saw some metal fragments scattered on the ground. Although they were small, they were golden and very fine. Lin Yi picked up some fragments and tasted them in his mouth. The fragments left behind by the Saint Gold. It's a pity. There should have been Saint Gold here, but it was eaten by the insect. These are the fragments left behind by it chewing the Saint Gold. Lu Ming and Tang Jun also sighed. It was a pity. Saint Gold was a top metal material and the main material for refining soul-level divine weapons. This kind of divine material was extremely rare and precious. It was really a pity that it was eaten by an insect. "Let's go to the other passage," Lin Yi said. Immediately, the 3 of them retreated and headed towards the last unexplored passage. Originally, these passages had rune formations. It wouldn't be that easy to enter, but now they are all gone. Obviously, they were destroyed by the insect. There must be insects in this passage. Tang Jun said. Yes, I also felt it. And its aura is different from the previous one. Be careful, I feel that it's very dangerous. Lin Yi said. Hearing Lin Ye's words, Lu Ming and Tang Jun did not dare to be careless. They circulated their strength to the extreme and were ready to fight at any time. Soon, the three of them reached the end of the passage. Kacha. As soon as they arrived, they heard the sound of crunching and saw a huge insect chewing something. Chapter 46:13. This insect looked very strange. It was covered in thick scales and had 8 long claws around its body. It looked like a giant spider. Moreover, it had a big mouth full of sharp teeth. The crunching sound came from its mouth because this insect was gnawing on a divine weapon. It seemed to be a battle sword. A section of the sword tip fell to the ground. Source-level divine weapon. The three of them were shocked. The weapon that this insect was gnawing on was definitely a source-level divine weapon. However, they didn't know if it was a broken one or a complete one. It would be a pity if it was a complete one. At this moment, the insect's blood-red eyes looked at Lu Ming and the other two. "Damn it, how dare you snatch my food? I'll kill you!" Qiuqiu was the one who screamed. He saw a worm eating a source-level divine weapon and could not help but rush out from Lu Ming's wrist. He transformed into a battle halberd and slashed at the worm. One of the insect's sharp claws shot out like a spear, stabbing at Qiuqiu. With a clang, Qiuqiu's halberd collided with one of the insect's claws. A loud explosion was heard. Qiuqiu's body flew back and hit the wall. As for the insect, it didn't move at all. What a strong force! Lu Ming's pupils shrank slightly. The source-level divine weapon that Qiuqiu had turned into was very powerful. However, the insect seemed to have easily sent Qiuqiu flying. Then the spider-like insect screeched and pounced at Qiuqiu. Its 8 long legs were 100 times sharper than 8 spears. It was going to kill Qiuqiu in one fell swoop. "Get lost!" Lu Ming bellowed. He took a step forward and dashed out. At the same time, he activated the Battle Word Sutra to increase his combat power by 8 times. The Battle God's spear appeared in his hands. He channeled his strength into the long spear and struck 8 times consecutively. 8 streaks of spear gleams collided with the 8 sharp claws of the spider. The Battle God's spear vibrated continuously. Lu Ming felt a strong force coming at him and couldn't help but retreat. However, in the end, the spider-like bug was stopped. So strong, even stronger than the previous one, Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He had only casually encountered a few insects, but they were already so difficult to deal with. One could imagine how powerful these insects would be if they were filled with killing intent and baleful aura. No wonder it was said that when the killing intent and baleful aura filled the air, one couldn't enter. It was truly too dangerous. Hiss! When the spider-like bug saw that its attack was blocked by Lu Ming, it seemed to be enraged. It let out a shriek, and its 8 claws danced wildly as it charged towards Lu Ming. "Be careful, that's a spirit-devouring spider. Its entire body is indestructible, and its 8 legs have astonishing offensive power. You can't fight it head-on." Lin Yi shouted and rushed out with Tang Jun to attack from the side. However, when their attacks landed on the spider's body, they were blocked by its thick scales. Lu Ming and Qiuqiu dodged to the side in a flash, avoiding the attack from the spirit-devouring spider's 8 legs. The spirit-devouring spider's 8 legs stabbed into the wall, creating 8 holes in it. "Enter the illusion!" Qiuqiu shouted. Its body turned into a mirror, shooting out a beam of light that enveloped the spider. However, the spider didn't seem to be affected. Its huge body bounced and continued to pounce towards Qiuqiu. Lu Ming's face darkened. The war god's spear flew out of his hand like a bolt of lightning, stabbing towards one of the spider's eyes. However, it was blocked by one of the spider's legs, and the war god's spear was sent flying. "Primeval desolation!" Lu Ming shouted. The primeval desolation style was condensed, and a huge continent was formed, pressing down. Boom! The primeval desolation continent pressed down on the spirit-devouring spider and smashed it to the ground. However, immediately after, the continent rumbled and cracks appeared on it. The spirit-devouring spider rushed out. However, when the primeval desolation continent pressed down, Lu Ming had already rushed out. He grabbed the war god's spear and stabbed at the spider's abdomen. At the same time, Tang Jun and Lin Yi also launched their attacks. Together with Lu Ming's attack, 3 extremely sharp attacks stabbed at 3 different parts of the spider. Clang, clang, clang. It was as if the attacks had stabbed into an indestructible metal. Be it Tang Jun, Lin Yi, or Lu Ming, they were unable to pierce through the spider's attacks. Instead, it caused the spider to glow. Its long legs were like 8 sickles, slashing towards Lu Ming and the other 2. Lu Ming and the other 2 quickly retreated, avoiding the spider's attack. Its defense is too strong. I can't pierce through it at all, Lu Ming said with a serious expression. Generally, the abdomen of a spider-shaped wild beast was a weak point that could be easily pierced. However, the spirit-devouring spider was different. Its abdomen was no different from other parts of its body. It was also covered in thick scales that could not be pierced. Its defense was amazing. The spirit-devouring spider has only one weak point, and that is its lower jaw. However, it is too difficult to hit its lower jaw. Its 8 long legs are constantly protecting its lower jaw. Once an attack gets close, it will be repelled. It is impossible to hit it, Lin Yi said. Lin Yi, do you have any ideas? You are an expert of the myriad spirits insect race. Don't you know all kinds of insects like the back of your hand? Tang Jun asked. While the few of them were conversing, the spirit-devouring spider quickly charged towards them again. The group worked together to fight the spirit-devouring spider, blocking its attacks. They communicated as they fought the spirit-devouring spider. You have found the right person to work with. You guys hold it back first. I will deal with it. As Lin Yi spoke, he quickly retreated. Lu Ming, Tang Jun, and Qiuqiu attacked with all their might to hold back the spirit-devouring spider. Lu Ming constantly used the primeval desolation style. One continent after another came crashing down, slowing down the spirit-devouring spider. As for Lin Yi, he began to attack. With a wave of his hand, many bottles and jars appeared in the air. He took out many kinds of herbs from these bottles and jars. He opened his mouth and blew. A wisp of flame appeared, enveloping many of the herbs and starting to burn. In the next moment, a strange fragrance appeared and wafted through the entire cave. This strange fragrance is harmless to us, but it is equivalent to poison to the spirit-devouring spider. Its strength will weaken very quickly. When the time comes, we will seize the opportunity to attack its vital points. Lin Yi transmitted his voice to Lu Ming and Tang Jun. Lu Ming and Tang Jun were energized and worked even harder to hold back the spirit-devouring spider. Sure enough, after a while, the spirit-devouring spider's strength became weaker and weaker. Its 8 long legs, which were originally a threat to Lu Ming and the others, slowly became weak and powerless. It was no longer a fatal threat to Lu Ming and the others. However, the effect of the strange fragrance seemed to be limited. When the spirit-devouring spider weakened to a certain extent, it would no longer weaken. However, that was enough. Chapter 46:14. Tang Jun, Lu Ming, and Qiuqiu launched a fierce attack. All kinds of attacks were constantly directed at the spirit-devouring spider. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw an opportunity. The spirit-devouring spider had revealed its weakness. Heaven Splitter. Without hesitation, Lu Ming performed the Heaven Splitter. He became one with his spear and turned into a dazzling spear light that pierced towards the spirit-devouring spider's jaw. The war god's spear accurately pierced the spirit-devouring spider's jaw. The war god's spear pierced through the spider's jaw all the way to its head. A violent force exploded in the spirit-devouring spider's head. Creak! At this moment, the spirit-devouring spider went berserk. One of its long legs swept towards Lu Ming. This attack was even more terrifying than the spirit-devouring spider's attack at its peak. Lu Ming did not have time to pull out his war god spear. He performed the great Aurora art and retreated rapidly, avoiding the spirit-devouring spider's desperate attack. After missing its attack, the spirit-devouring spider let out a frantic shriek and continued to charge towards Lu Ming, Tang Jun, and the others. However, halfway through, the spirit-devouring spider fell to the ground with a plop. There was no sign of life. Lu Ming's attack just now had blown the spirit-devouring spider's head into mush. It was obviously not going to survive. It was just a last-ditch attack. Huff! The few of them heaved a sigh of relief. The spirit-devouring spider was finally taken care of. Qiuqiu immediately rushed over and grabbed the small section of the sword tip on the ground. It stuffed it into its mouth and chewed loudly. Tang Jun and Lin Yi were dumbfounded. The sword tip was left behind by a soul-level divine weapon. Needless to say, it was extremely hard. However, Qiuqiu could eat it like candy. This is the metal ball we obtained back then? Tang Jun looked at Qiuqiu curiously. When Lu Ming and the others had just entered the primitive universe, Lu Ming, Tang Jun, and Xian Yanqing had gone on an adventure together and found Qiuqiu on a metal planet. Previously, Tang Jun had never recognized it, mainly because she had never expected that a metal ball from back then could grow to such a level. Taking a closer look, Zhang Xian finally recognized it. Yes, you're right. It's the metal ball that we obtained together back then. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, I have to say that your luck is really good to have obtained a metal ball in such a remote place. To think that it would be so abnormal. Tang Jun looked envious. There weren't many people who could make her feel envious. What a pity, what a pity. There should be a few broken origin-grade divine weapons here, but they were all eaten by this damned spider, Qiuqiu cried out. It was extremely displeased and looked like it was in pain. Tang Jun and Lin Yi also heaved a sigh. This time, it was a wasted trip. Those insects had beaten them to it and they didn't get anything. Let's go and try our luck in other places. Maybe we can find another cave abode of an expert. Lin Yi said, but the strong lack of confidence on his face betrayed him. Although the thousand-year battlefield was an important place in the last era and many experts had established cave abodes there, it had been too many years. Most of those cave abodes were buried deep underground after all, so it wasn't easy to find them. Besides, Heaven Destroyer and the Heavenly Palace had been mining here for many years, so there were fewer and fewer undiscovered cave abodes. If they wanted to find an undiscovered cave abode, they could only rely on luck. Don't go yet. At this time, Lu Ming suddenly shouted. Qiuqiu seemed to have found something. It looked at the wall in the depths of the cave and showed a thoughtful look. Tang Jun and Lin Yi also stopped. Lu Ming, what did you find? Tang Jun asked. Qiuqiu must have found something. Let's wait. Lu Ming said. After a while, Qiuqiu flew over and said, Lu Ming, I feel that there's something delicious behind this wall. It's very delicious. As it said that, Qiuqiu opened its big mouth, revealing 2 rows of sharp fangs and gnashing them together. Something delicious? Is there a precious metal mine behind this wall? Lu Ming muttered. We'll know when we dig it out. Tang Jun flew forward and slashed at the wall with his sword. The wall here was extremely hard. Tang Jun's long sword only cut off a rock the size of a millstone. Lin Yi also made a move. The 6 insect-like arms on his back were like 6 sabers, constantly slashing out, making clanging sounds. The rock fragments kept flying out faster than Tang Jun. At the same time, Lu Ming and Qiuqiu also made a move. Lu Ming took out another saber and kept slashing at the wall, while Qiuqiu turned into a halberd and slashed at the wall. The 4 of them worked together. Although the wall was hard, they soon dug a big hole. However, the wall was obviously very thick. They had dug hundreds of meters deep but still couldn't dig through. Qiuqiu, are you sure there's a treasure on the other side? Tang Jun looked at Qiuqiu suspiciously. I didn't say there's a treasure. I said there's food, delicious food. Qiuqiu said and dug energetically. Qiuqiu only likes to eat precious metal materials or high-grade divine weapons. If he says it's delicious, it's probably top-grade metal materials or high-grade divine weapons. There shouldn't be any mistake. Lu Ming said. Everyone continued to dig. In the end, when they dug to a depth of almost 800 meters, they finally dug through. After a few rumbling sounds, the rocks exploded. Then, a heat wave rushed towards them. This heat wave was very shocking. Even if they resisted it with divine power or taboo power, they still felt their bodies burning. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Behind the wall, there was actually another huge cave. However, This cave was fiery red and there seemed to be a raging fire burning inside. Everyone didn't dare to be careless. They circulated their power and prepared for a big battle. Then they flew into the cave. At the bottom of the cave, there was actually magma. The crimson magma was boiling, bringing with it a terrifying heat wave. Only a few stone pillars extended out from the magma and could be used as footholds. "That's a divine weapon," Lin Yi exclaimed. This was because there were about a dozen light balls floating above the magma. These balls of light were all divine weapons. "Food, yummy food," Qiuqiu shouted and flew towards one of the light balls. Its body turned into liquid metal. One of its arms reached out and grabbed one of the weapons. It stuffed it into its mouth and chewed. Lu Ming, Tang Jun, and Lin Yi also moved. They each flew towards a light ball and grabbed the weapon in the light ball. This is a source-level divine weapon. No, it's not complete. It's a half-finished product. Lu Ming was delighted at first, but then he shook his head and sighed. The aura of this weapon was very shocking. It had the aura of a source-level divine weapon, but it was not refined. It was only a half-finished product. It's a half-finished product. It seems that this is the real cave abode, the place where the cave abodes master refined weapons. Tang Jun and Lin Yi sighed. Chapter 46:15. With the experience and intelligence of Tang Jun and the others, it was not difficult to see that this was a real cave abode where the owner of the cave abode refined weapons. He used the magma below to refine source-level weapons. However, the Tang sect was still very shocked. The owner of this cave abode was not to be underestimated. He could refine more than a dozen source-level weapons at the same time. This kind of method was really incredible. At present, whether it was in the Heaven Destroyer or the Heavenly Palace, the blacksmiths who could refine source-level weapons could only refine one source-level weapon at a time. However, the owner of this cave abode could refine more than a dozen source-level weapons at the same time. This kind of method was far from what the blacksmiths of the primitive universe could compare to. No wonder it was said that the primitive continent of the previous era was a golden age for cultivation. Its prosperity was far greater than the current primitive universe. This was not just a saying, but it could be seen from the blacksmithing method. "I'll eat." Qiuqiu was very excited. It ate a semi-finished source-level weapon in a few bites and rushed to the second one. To Qiuqiu, a semi-finished source-level weapon was also a peerless delicacy. Although it had not been refined into a complete source-level weapon, the metal material inside was complete. Lu Ming, Tang Jun, and Lin Yi also moved. The three of them put away the remaining semi-finished source-level weapons and divided them equally. Each of them had 4 weapons. "I want to eat. You guys give me some." After Qiuqiu finished the second weapon and saw Lu Ming and the others put away the remaining weapons, it immediately shouted in displeasure. "Qiuqiu, you haven't completely refined the remaining weapons in your body. Now that you've eaten 2 semi-finished source-level weapons, it's enough. Finish refining the weapons in your body first. When your cultivation breaks through to the 4th tier of the Divine Master Realm, I'll give you the rest." Lu Ming said. Tang Jun and Lin Yi looked pained. They felt that it was a waste to give the semi-finished source-level weapons to Qiuqiu. A semi-finished source-level weapon was different from a broken one. The semi-finished source-grade divine weapon was not far from the finished product. The first step was basically complete. As long as he brought it back and handed it over to a blacksmith who could forge source-grade divine weapons, the success rate would be very high. Almost 50% success rate. If each of them had 4 pieces, they would be able to succeed at least 2 pieces. This was extremely precious, and its value was far above that of a broken divine weapon. Qiuqiu answered unwillingly. Everyone started looking around again. "There's a bag." Suddenly, Lu Ming saw a platform in the corner. On the platform, there was a palm-sized bag. That is a storage pouch used by the cultivators of the previous epoch. Like a storage ring, it has a storage space. Tang Jun said, his eyes burning with passion. Lin Ye's eyes lit up. The cultivators of the previous epoch did not use storage rings. Instead, they used storage bags. In fact, they were similar to storage rings. They were used to store things. However, it had been too long since the last era. Ordinary storage pouches could not be preserved for such a long time. They would rot, and so would the treasures inside. However, some storage pouches were made of special materials and could be preserved. In history, many people found storage pouches left behind by the previous epoch in the ruins of the universe. Generally, there would be a large number of treasures in the storage pouch. We're rich. Tang Jun and Lin Ye's eyes lit up. They had been in the ruins of the universe for so long, but they had never found a storage pouch. Everyone hurriedly flew over. There were no runes or formations around the storage pouch. After confirming that it was safe, Tang Jun picked up the storage pouch, opened it, and scanned it with his spiritual sense. In the next moment, Tang Jun's expression changed slightly. His originally expectant expression disappeared. How is it? There are no treasures inside? Lin Yi saw Tang Jun's expression and could not help but ask. Yes, but not as much as we thought. Take it and have a look. Tang Jun handed the storage pouch to Lin Yi. Lin Yi could not wait to look at it. After looking at it, he shook his head slightly and then handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming scanned the contents of the storage pouch with his spiritual sense. Lu Ming was clear about the contents. There were not many types of things in the storage pouch. It could be said that there were only two types of things. One was metal materials. There were a lot of them. The other was primeval crystals. Lu Ming roughly calculated that there were at least hundreds of thousands of primeval crystals. This harvest is not bad. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This harvest was already very good. It was probably because Tang Jun and Lin Yi had high expectations for the storage pouch before, so they were disappointed. The owner of this cave mansion probably took all the important treasures with him. What is left here is only a small part. Tang Jun said, "Yes, it should be so. What a pity." Lin Yi sighed. "It's not bad. Let's split it." Putting aside the metal materials, there are about 500,000 primeval crystals. Each of us can get 160 to 70,000 primeval crystals. Lu Ming said. Then they divided it equally. Each of them got some metal materials and 160 to 70,000 primeval crystals. With these primeval crystals and what I've accumulated before, it's enough for me to break through to the 5th tier of the Divine Lord realm. A smile finally appeared on Tang Juandao's face. Although the harvest was not as great as he had imagined, it was still not bad. Tang Jun had accumulated some primeval crystals before, and with these, he could break through to the 5th tier of the Divine Lord realm. Unfortunately, I'm still a little short. Lin Yi shook his head. Although the number of primeval crystals Lin Yi needed to break through was far less than Lu Ming and Tang Jun's, his cultivation was high. To break through to the 7th tier of the Divine Lord realm, a 6th tier Divine Lord realm required an astonishing number of primeval crystals. To him, 160 to 70,000 primeval crystals was still not enough. I'm also far from enough. Lu Ming sighed inside. He needed at least 500,000 primeval crystals to break through to the 5th tier of the Divine Lord realm. Even with the 60 to 70,000 primeval crystals from before, it was still far from enough. Afterward, the three of them searched the area once more, but they did not find anything else. However, this trip had not been a waste. They had obtained quite a good harvest, especially the semi-finished source-grade divine weapons. Even if the success rate was only 50%, each of them would obtain 2 source-grade divine weapons. Such a harvest was already very shocking. After all, the number of source-grade divine weapons that could be obtained from the ruins of the universe was not many. Otherwise, there would not have been so many reciprocity experts who did not have any source-grade divine weapons to use. They had obtained so many in one go. Even reciprocity experts would be envious of such a harvest. Thinking up to this point, Tang Jun and Lin Ye's moods improved. They walked out of their disappointment with smiles on their faces. Lu Ming, I have to say that you really are lucky. We'll be able to eat and drink well by following you. Tang Jun looked at Lu Ming and smiled. Chapter 46:16. While talking, they walked outside and soon left the cave abode. What should we do next? Lu Ming asked. We can only search one area at a time and try our luck. Tang Jun said. This efficiency is too slow. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. But there was no other way. This place was full of danger and there were all kinds of poisonous insects. Moreover, it had been too long since the last era. Some cave abodes were buried underground. Even if there were some treasures, they were still underground. They could only slowly search through them section by section. If they were lucky, they would encounter an opportunity. If they were unlucky, they would only find nothing. Lu Ming, I feel like I'm about to break through. I'll go into seclusion first. At this moment, Qiu transmitted its voice to Lu Ming, then turned into a bracelet and put it on Lu Ming's hand. You're about to break through? Lu Ming was delighted at first, but then he smiled bitterly in his heart. Originally, he wanted Qiu to show off its power and help search. Qiu was extremely sensitive to metal materials and all kinds of divine weapons. With Qiu's help, they might not be able to find the cave abodes of the powerhouses, but they could still find metal materials and divine weapons. With Qiu's help, their efficiency would be greatly increased. But Qiu had to break through at this time, so they had no choice but to rely on themselves. After all, Qiu's breakthrough was more important. Lu Ming, Tang Jun, and Lin Yi flew at a low altitude and extended their spirit senses to search slowly. Unfortunately, their good luck had run out. They didn't find anything for 7 days in a row. During this period, they also met another team, which was naturally from the Heaven Destroyer. This area was occupied by the Heaven Destroyer, so it was naturally impossible to meet the people from the Heavenly Palace. 7 days later, a murderous aura suddenly filled the world, making people feel uneasy. Oh no, it seems that the murderous aura and murderous intent are about to spread. Why is it so short this time? Tang Jun's expression changed. It's too short. It's only been less than 10 days, but we have to leave. Lin Yi said. The time this time was excessively short. In the past, it would take at least a month. This time, it had only been less than 10 days, but the murderous aura and killing intent were about to spread out again. Fortunately, they already had a pretty good harvest. As for the others, they probably didn't get anything. They didn't hesitate any longer and immediately returned. After a period of time, they left the Forest of Ghosts. The baleful aura and killing intent in the Forest of Ghosts were getting thicker and thicker. It wouldn't be long before it became very thick. At that time, those insects would also become very terrifying. Let's go, Tang Jun said. The three of them went back the way they came. However, when they passed by the first stronghold, they discovered that the stronghold was filled with killing intent. The experts in the stronghold were all filled with killing intent. After asking around, he found out that something had happened while Lu Ming and the others were in the Forest of Ghosts. The experts of the Heavenly Palace gathered and divided into several groups to attack the stronghold controlled by the Heaven Destroyer. A great battle broke out between the two sides. In the end, 2 of the Heaven Destroyer's strongholds were taken by the Heavenly Palace. More than 50 Divine Masters died in battle. Divine Masters were the backbone of both the Heavenly Palace and the Heaven Destroyer. More than 50 Divine Masters had died in an instant. It could be said that the losses were heavy. After hearing this news, Tang Jun and the others were also solemn. They continued to return. After a period of time, they returned to the ancient city. As soon as they returned, they heard that the Origin Realm experts were gathering people. It seemed that they were going to launch a counterattack against the Heavenly Palace. After Lu Ming and the others heard this, they didn't stop. They walked toward a square in the center of the city. When they arrived, they found that many people had already gathered. There were more than 300 of them. All of them were Divine Master Realm existences. At the very front, there were 8 figures. Every one of them had an extremely shocking and unfathomable aura. Tang Xiao was among them. Origin Realm. The 8 figures were all Origin Realm experts. Moreover, these 8 Origin Realm experts were completely different from the Origin Realm experts Lu Ming had seen in the Heaven Destroyer's stronghold. Not a single one of them was the same. Lu Ming was secretly surprised. There were actually so many Origin Realm experts in the Heaven Destroyer. Including the ones in the Heaven Destroyer's stronghold, there were over a dozen of them. How could there be so many Origin Realm experts? Lu Ming's doubt was also visible on his face. Tang Jun saw it. With her intelligence, how could she not know what Lu Ming was thinking? Lu Ming, are you surprised? How can our Heaven Destroyer have so many Origin Realm experts? Tang Jun's voice rang out in Lu Ming's ears. She used a communication technique. That's right. I am indeed very surprised. It's said that even the top 10 races don't have many Origin Realm experts after countless years. Lu Ming said. You said it yourself. It's the accumulation of countless years. Origin Realm experts control Origin. They live as long as the universe. As long as the universe exists, Origin Realm experts will not die. At the same time, reciprocity experts possess extremely tenacious vitality. It's very difficult to truly kill them. As a result, the number of reciprocity experts in the universe has exceeded your imagination over the countless years that have passed since the birth of the universe. Some ancient races might have vanished in the annals of history, but there might still be reciprocity experts who have survived. Tang Jun explained. Indeed. Lu Ming nodded secretly. Divine Masters had limited lifespans. They would still die of old age after a long time. However, Origin Realm experts would not die unless the universe was destroyed as well. Although Origin Realm was difficult to form and become an Origin Realm expert, it was just too difficult. Countless prodigies had stopped there. However, no matter how difficult it would take a long time. Just how many years had it been since the universe was born? It was difficult to tell even in terms of stellar years. Was it thousands of stellar years or tens of thousands of stellar years? Over the long years, the number of Origin Realm experts was extremely shocking. Moreover, they were difficult to kill. Their vitality was tenacious. Perhaps there would be an Origin Realm expert living in seclusion on some desolate planet in the universe. Many of the Heaven Destroyer's Origin Realm experts come from the races destroyed by the Heavenly Palace, such as the Heaven Destroyer and the Myriad Spirits insect race. Although they were destroyed, there were still Origin Realm experts who survived and joined the Heaven Destroyer. However, while there are many Heaven Destroyer experts, there are even more Origin Realm experts in the Heavenly Palace. They are definitely far more than our Heaven Destroyer. Tang Jun continued transmitting his voice. Lu Ming nodded and remained silent. What he had come into contact with before was only a corner of the universe. As his cultivation increased, he slowly came into contact with more secrets and deeper powers of the universe. The Heavenly Palace had dominated the primitive universe for so many years. Its strength was definitely astonishing. Moreover, the fifth Heavenly Palace of the Heavenly Palace was extremely mysterious. Who knew what secrets it contained? Everyone, I'm sure you already know. Not long ago, we were attacked by the Heavenly Palace. We lost 2 fortresses and over 50 companions. We must avenge this. We must kill our way back. Tang Xiao took a step forward and spoke coldly. His killing intent surged. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.